Welcome back.
Oh my God!
What is this?
Well, I usually host
I
when
know.
Nathan doesn't.
Yeah, Nathan has quit the podcast, apparently.
Finally.
We thought we all did for a little bit.
I've been waiting for this moment.
But let's get a proper one. We're a little rusty, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Here, guys.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Nerds Who Get Laid
Sometimes.
oh, Chuck is a little.
Chuck's.
I've been waiting,
Chuck's Michael Scott in it.
Yeah, he is.
I know, right?
Yeah, sweet
He's
Jesus.
had a few beers in him.
And
actually
we're on
more.
Still Reserve Countdown. First time
so
ever, guys.
Chuck decided it was a good idea to come to podcast with some still reserves.
No.
And he's got to drink them all now.
Oh! If I'm... Okay, you're drinking the Miller Lite then, bitch.
Well, I would rather drink,
You can drink that.
High Life.
If I'm drinking one of these Still Reserves, you're drinking some of the Miller Lite, baby.
I'll drink High Life every night of the week.
Every time.
Instead
Every
of
time.
the Still Reserve.
See, that's why I love y'all, man. Y'all some good people.
All right.
How drunk are you?
Pretty much already there.
You're like guy I haven't seen in 10 years at a party drunk.
He's been drinking ever since our last episode, waiting for this new episode.
It's been months.
It really has been.
Yeah.
So, guys, we've been going for a little bit. We made an announcement last episode. We've been working on some. Well, number one, this is our first full episode in our new studio.
Yeah.
And it's a lot nicer.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very
pretty
cold in
swag.
here. It feels much wider. It's much brighter. We have this nice table that TJ's made for us that we can do gaming and stuff on.
So much room for activities.
Yeah, so many activities are going on right now. So yeah, we're pretty excited. There's a lot more new things going on. We've been working on a lot of new episodes. We talked about we're going to change up our format. We've been doing this for 5 years, guys. So it was time to change some things. Yeah. And we've got a few things coming on the horizon. We don't have absolute release dates ready, but we started recording some of them, and we can't wait to get them to you. We've got 4. We're going to more of a season format where we're going to try to drop like probably full seasons or partial seasons at a time.
We're going to focus and put all our attention into certain things to make sure we give a better quality content to everybody. That's because you deserve it also.
Yeah, we're wanting to like kind of up our content, or not our content, but the quality of our content and everything. So we got 2 of them that are really on the burner that we've got some things recorded for, some episodes ready to go.
Yeah.
One of them is a 1980s cartoon countdown. Well,
not necessarily the cartoons.
Oh yes, the cartoon theme songs.
Yes.
So we're gonna be going through and rating cartoon theme songs for you guys,
and not the way you think.
No. We've got a little bit of a spin on it that we're gonna try out for you.
We do?
Yeah, we do.
I thought we were just doing pretty run of the mill. Not aware of that fact.
But
Okay,
you did
cool.
say it was the 80s cartoons we're starting with,
80s.
right?
Yeah, we're starting with the 80s cartoons.
The better ones.
And then we've got another one. Nathan had brought this. I don't know if he's ever talked about it on the podcast, but we've talked about it for a while other ways. It's called I've Never Seen It, and it's basically just him reviewing movies that he's never seen before. We picked out, I think, 8 films.
Yep. And these are going to be award-winning movies or critically acclaimed or
they're like on
cult classics.
A lot of top 100, top 50 lists also.
Yeah, we actually I'm sure Nathan wouldn't mind to say that, but we actually already recorded portions of an episode for Chinatown,
which will probably be the first episode coming down.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was it was really excited to be a part of that. We all got to watch it.
If you haven't seen it, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and we really enjoyed it. But we're all excited to talk to you guys about that. The biggest hurdle was getting the studio set up, and
it took me a while too. I had to do a lot of actual work up here. But I feel
the
pretty
work's
good
paid
in
off
here.
so far, dude. You've done a great job in it, man.
Yeah, we've got everything. I repainted everything. We redid the floors. Like I said, TJ built this amazing table for us. So we're all sitting around like literal round table style instead of in our dirty ass old studio that we used to be in, where it was like TJ was in some corner that you couldn't see, and Mike was in another corner you couldn't see.
I like it.
I had to look
Seeing all
straight
your
across at
faces
Nathan. Now I got to sit next to Nathan.
Yeah, we can actually see everyone now. So
It's we are not very pretty.
But I will say the chairs are a lot more comfortable.
well, you had the worst chair for a while in there. That bring your own.
I had that wooden chair.
Wooden chair.
I brought that so I didn't break a chair.
Well, and I appreciate that.
Again.
Yes. No. Okay. Regardless.
So
Regardless.
we also have some more video content that we're hoping to be recording. We have we have an area now where we can do videos and photos and stuff like that. A little more, a little easier. Set up some of our photography
And regularly.
stuff. Regularly. Yeah. So we're hoping to do that. I've got an unboxing video for a new Batman game that I just got that I should be able to put up sometime this week.
Like an 8-part video.
Yeah, I've got a 32-part Ken Burns style unboxing video.
So many boxes came with this game.
It really is. It is absolutely huge. And I'm just doing it was about 5 or 6 minutes of me just take it. The unboxing video is just taking the other boxes out of a box. I haven't even gotten to a point where I'm showing you what's in the game. So, but I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to do that. We've got some Hot Toys reviews and photos and stuff like that coming down the line well. So many. There's some pre-orders on the way in.
I don't want to talk about it.
We're not talking about the obscene amounts of money that we're spending to bring you content.
Yeah, that's the only reason this is getting done, I'm sure.
Yeah, like I want to spend all that money for my own gain. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm in it to win it. I'm in it for the podcast.
It's a business write-off for me.
Right? Yeah.
Can you imagine writing to the IRS? Write off this
Iron
Thanos
Man.
here.
Iron Man write-off. But yeah, we're also hoping to eventually in the future be doing some Twitch and stuff like that, streaming some of our games when we have game nights. We have a dedicated place to do that now. So
Yeah.
We also, the way the podcast started years ago, probably 6 years ago, maybe more, maybe less. Nathan started a Facebook group because he wanted a place to post stupid memes for nerd things that he didn't want to put on his normal timeline, and he called it Nerds Who Get Laid sometimes. Well, a little bit later, he's like, hey, we should do a podcast. And that once we started doing that, we made our own little chat. And we never really posted in that group anymore. So it's been sitting there. Yeah. So it's just been sitting there. So we're going to start. We're going to invite you guys to that. We're going to post it on our Facebook page, and we want you guys in there. We want to interact with you guys a little bit more. All these different memes and stupid shit like articles and stuff that we post to each other. We're gonna start posting that stuff in there so we can talk about it with more people that are on our level, more nerds, so we can get some more ears and eyes on this stuff.
Yeah,
so,
we've almost learned to communicate 100% through memes and reaction gifs.
yeah, memes.
Reaction gifts. I've gotten pretty good at them.
I felt like I used my what the fuck one the other day. I've been holding that for a rainy day, man. And it was a true what the fuck. It was
I love
fantastic.
when I get to use my I synced it.
I synced it. Yeah.
Every time you use that.
I synced it. But yeah, so that is something that if you're out there, go look up Nerds Who Get Laid sometimes, and if it's not, you'll find the page, but there's also the group. I'll have to make sure it's not secret. I think it's not secret. I think it's just closed. But if it's secret, I'll make it closed.
I think it was originally a closed group because we don't want people to see our nerdy shame.
So we'll have to invite you. You go ask for access to it, and there's a couple of questions to keep out all them bots. But we're gonna let you in.
Keep all the Chucks out.
Yeah, to keep people like Chuck out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Optimus Prime can't come in here. No bots allowed.
That means RoboCop also, brother.
Fuck you. He's a cyborg.
All right.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
So that's most of the pre-work we had to do here.
Yeah.
And you're probably wondering, hey guys, y'all haven't been podcasting for a couple of weeks now, maybe a couple of months. I don't know how long it's been.
It's been a few months, man.
Why are you back now? Why now? You're not coming with anything but this one episode. You're not bringing all this premium content y'all been talking about. Why are you going to come back now?
Yeah, what is, what kind of special nerd thing happened that would necessitate us doing a podcast?
Decade long.
Yeah.
I just want to spoil it, but I fucking can't.
Chuck
wants so bad to spoil it. So, guys, this week, Avengers Endgame finally hit the theaters, and we could not review and talk about this movie, this event,
this motion picture,
this
Flicka show.
It would have been a disservice to everybody, but most importantly, it would have been a disservice to us because we've been doing this for almost 5 years, and this is what we do. So
yeah.
So it's like we had to do one
skipped out on
last.
Captain Marvel. We skipped out on Hellboy. We skipped out on Shazam. What else have we skipped out on?
I think that's our fault why Hellboy failed.
We didn't get to talk about it.
We didn't talk about it. Out there. Didn't get people to see it.
It's made its $20 million or whatever.
I think that's the reason why it's bad.
People listen to us, man.
But so
Chuck, what is this
the
urban
of people
character you're doing right now? You sound like you're like a wise guy from the streets of Boston or something.
Shit.
All right, guys, this is the countdown.
Oh,
well,
God.
I've smelled one of these.
I've
smelled one of these in my
That's
lifetime.
right, guys. The
Steel
event
Reserve is open.
Chuck eating a Steel Reserve or drinking. It's pretty much eating a Steel Reserve because you have to chew the vomit back with each swig.
I don't know if this is worse than the time he drank the Mad Dog or better.
No, the Mad.
The Mad Dog is way better than Steel Reserve. I can guarantee that. Steel Reserve tastes like if water thought it was beer.
Well, you opened it now. If only you could see the Chuck face right now, guys.
Let me tell you about Steel Reserve. It is a high gravity lager that through pressure is fermented and made into beer almost instantly.
On the can it says, sorry to interrupt everybody, it says extra malted barley and select hops for extra gravity.
So what that means is the cheapest stuff mashed through the quickest filter.
8.1% alcohol because it's a high gravity
It's
lager.
very high.
Well, you see, Steel Reserve is one of those things that it's not made to drink and to enjoy.
Nope.
It's made to get
fucked up.
Blotto, I believe, is the term from the 80s. It's made to get you, quote unquote, tore up from the floor up.
Flow up.
And again, in normal fashion, I've derailed the fucking podcast.
Well, that's fine. Let's go ahead and get your review of Steel Reserve before we jump into our review. Our spoiler-free. We're going to do spoiler-free first for Endgame, and then we are going to give you adequate time to let you know there are spoilers coming when we decide to go to that part. So,
Psych spoilers now, alien, stop everything.
Yes. It's warm. It's not good. I don't think it'd be good cold. But
you're talking about Endgame or Steel Reserve?
But both.
Steel Reserve.
But, I'm gonna have to drink it because I opened it. But it's don't make.
If you
excuse me, I bought a 4-pack of Steel Reserve one time, and I popped one and I drank a sip of it, and then I threw it away. And I threw the other 3 away. So you can.
No.
Those are going home with him tonight.
No, I didn't buy them. TJ bought them.
No, you bought them.
Those are day off beers, man. It's like, I'm going to drink 4 of these and get fucked up.
Those are, I don't want to remember something. Beers.
Those are, I want to punish myself and not remember.
I mean, I cry myself to sleep every night. I don't need this to help.
How can I hurt myself with the least amount of money?
I could hit myself in the balls with a hammer, but I guess I'll drink this.
A hammer, though, is way more expensive.
I wouldn't do that over. Dude, this fucking sucks, man.
All right, so in game, guys, let's go into it. This is like I said.
For those who don't know, we're referring to Marvel Avengers or Endgame,
the sequel to Infinity War.
the quadriquel.
Yes.
Quadriquel.
Oh, I like that.
I don't think it's
You
a word.
would. You've had 3 sips of Still Reserve. You're going to like a lot of things.
Are you going to ask us
Avengers movies.
how superheroes work?
How do superheroes work?
So how Legos work.
They're like regular
Assholes.
people, but they can do more than the normal person?
Depending on the power. Oh, actually, all the powers.
How is that interesting? Okay, so yes. Spoiler free.
Yes.
So,
Mike, you want to start us off?
yes. This is about the story following after Infinity War, where Thanos decided to snap.
What
and
if somebody
remove-
didn't watch Infinity War because they were waiting for the
Spoiling
end of
Infinity War.
it for Endgame to come out? And
That's
then
such a TJ thing. That's such a TJ thing.
What, calling on a technicality? That is such a TJ thing? Okay.
Mr. Actually,
You actually my ass.
Guys,
earlier
could you
today.
please both shut the fuck up?
Yes.
I'm trying to do an intro on Infinity War, not on Infinity Bore, which is what you're being right now, Chuck. Get your hand off of me.
Would it be better if it's on your leg?
Unhand me.
Okay.
you did not ask his permission.
I know.
Thank you. So, back to what we were talking about. It follows Thanos snapping and removing half of the universe's population. This included a number of Marvel superheroes, and that's where the story begins. Immediately after.
Well, that's 21 days after.
Yeah, it's a little bit after.
The first scene was Clint Barton and his family. So.
Which was there.
Yeah, so I was kind of right, since you guys want to actually me.
Point, Mike.
Okay. So please continue, since everyone saw the movie better than me.
Saw the movie better than me.
My eyes were crossed and I fell asleep.
So, Infinity War was absolutely great.
Hey, whatever do you think about it?
Infinity War? We talked
Yeah,
about that,
that was
a year
great.
ago.
Yeah, so why are you talking about it still?
I want to talk about it again
I
because
loved Infinity War. I thought it was... I don't know. It was heavy. I think Infinity War is the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel
I
Universe.
think moving forward, Gen Z kids will no longer say that was the Empire Strikes Back of the series. They will say that was the Infinity War of the series.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it did that very, very well.
Absolutely. The entire movie played like a normal superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's plucky and upbeat. They got these crazy ass, harebrained plan that's going to go through. Fucking Thor takes on the power of a star to make Stormbreaker. Everything is building up to a win. And they still lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a emotional ending and loss.
It was draining.
And yeah, it really was. It really was. So one of the genius things that I love when filmmakers do this, because I think this is one of the things that made the whole Lord of the Rings really good. They wrote and recorded and videoed or whatever the whole movie back to back to back.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Infinity War and Endgame. It makes for a much
Smoother,
more cohesive
seamless story, and everything in this fits together so well with that. And like I said, I think Infinity War was, because we're still talking like this, and I'm not a Gen Z or whatever, the Empire of the series,
the Marvel series.
I think Endgame is basically Kevin saying, hey, look at all this shit I've created for you guys, and just dumping it out on the floor and saying, have fun. And we all lay down on our bellies and slap figures together and just have a good old time. That's what Endgame was.
Yeah.
It was such a fucking blast the whole time. And
very satisfying.
Very
movie.
satisfying. And we'll again, we're not spoiling right now. We'll get into it. There are some sadder parts to this, of course,
like the end,
because this
when
is
it's over.
Really?
Oh,
this is the end of the Infinity Saga, which is what they're calling all of the Marvel movies before Endgame. But I think that was that's exactly what this is. This was just fun. This was for the fans and it was just a lot of fun.
It was a thank you for being there.
It was. There was so much fan service in the whole thing, and we'll get into those things and the spoiler stuff and everything. But it felt like this was a movie that was made for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
what
definitely.
about you guys?
Well, I'm going to steal something Mike said, but I completely agree with it. That this is the first comic book movie that felt like a comic book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the other ones have felt like, okay, I'm taking this character out and bringing it in and trying to do something
like
with
I'm doing the
this
best
is our
I can.
cinematic interpretation.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I feel like since like X-Men 1, it's been kind of like that. This is an interpretation, and they've gotten better and better and better. And a lot of the MCU stuff is that. Like, Civil War was a interpretation of the
storyline that the best they could do for
not
a
even
movie.
the storyline, but the themes of the original storyline.
It was the best film adaptation
put
they could have
into
done.
this film, and this Infinity War was even the same way, but Endgame was like you said, just like a comic book come to life.
Yeah. It was. That's the best way I can describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry I stole your words to do it, Mike.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a valid point. It was a strong point that Mike had made.
Yeah. But Chuck?
I like the finality of it. Like, this has been going on since, what was it? Iron Man was 08, 09?
2008.
08?
Yeah.
The last 11 years of my life, I've spent dedicated in loving these characters. And it's like, at some point, you know there's going to be an end, but there's always another chapter that can be opened later on. So I feel like this has been something I've enjoyed along with other people. Like, previous generations had their Star Treks they've had. That was their thing. This was such a great time these last 11 years that this is something I never thought was going to happen. And they proved everybody wrong with Marvel Studios and then Disney when they acquired them, just what you could do. Because it was a big step from black leather suits to fucking throwing Cap in his original suit, Iron Man in his suit. Who would have thought Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man would have had a movie?
Well, and all
And
of these
just the
characters
finality
starting with Iron Man. Iron Man, I
Was
know
not
you
these-
people don't understand this or don't know
Was a
this, but
C-list
Iron Man was a
character.
C-list character when that movie came out. Huh?
At best.
Same with Cap.
Yep.
They were not A tier characters. And Guardians of the
were lower
Galaxy
than
was
that.
even less than that.
But the fact that they made it work, and they made you they made it work, but they made you fall in love with these characters.
They made a movie with a talking raccoon and tree.
I know,
And were able to...
but you fell in love with it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I'm like,
And people that are non-comic fans fell in love with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were able to do that.
Because I remember Allison was pissed. She was like, a talking raccoon in a tree. This is going to be so stupid. And she didn't really want to go see it, but went to see it because of me, and then loved it. And that was everyone. Everyone was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, but it was.
Why is anyone going to do this?
So with the finality, I'm wondering now, the next phase. I'm not holding expectations for the next phase compared to this one because it took so long to build. But Disney has my attention and they have my heart
And your money.
Yes, so I'm
Most
ready.
important part of the transaction.
That's the most I've
And then
spoken in a
Nathan-
whole year.
The biggest Marvel fan of us.
yeah.
What did he write, Mike, in that text to us?
Is all right.
Oh, that's what he wrote?
It was the greatest thing ever, guys.
Let me see.
I can't do his voice.
He said it was better than any Batman thing he had ever seen in his life.
Oh yeah. Oh, this was.
He was over.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm totally tired of DC. You know, DC just means disappointing crap to me.
Yeah.
You know, over and over again. Batman, more like Splat Man, because it's so disappointing. But superheroes, Marvel, Iron Man, they never let me down.
Thanks for calling in, Nathan.
God.
Hey, you're welcome, guys. Want to go back to recording my terrible music? Bye.
Seriously,
he
like,
was here in the room.
I've tried countless times standing in my bathroom trying to imitate Nathan, and I can never get close to Mike. Mike is just dead on.
You just gotta channel Mickey Mouse.
I try, I can't do it.
Grab your balls and shake them.
Hold on a second. I want to go into some.
It gets creepy in my house, man.
Yeah, why are you trying to imitate Nathan in your bathroom?
Well, first you gotta scrape all the blood off the mirror to see yourself.
Squeegee. I hit myself in the nose.
Let's pull it back in.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I had that thought when he said it, and I'm like,
it hasn't been creepy in a while.
Let's talk a little bit about because I know
Well,
this.
I thought it was great too.
I thought you started off.
You started off.
You started it like always, man.
All right,
All
sorry,
right.
Mike.
Go for it, Michael.
I just really enjoyed it.
Good job. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was good. I love the action. I love the suits, the tech, the superpowers, and everything. But I think that one of the main things I love about these, movies are just like the courage and this the heroism. I mean, it's entertainment, but there were many scenes where I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" Like you need to go dish out some justice. Yeah. But it was fantastic. A lot of heroes, a lot of courage, a lot of bravery, a lot of heroic acts, and a lot of really cool, gratuitously badass scenes.
There's so many.
There really were. There were so many badass scenes. We'll get into some of that
later on.
But let's talk a minute about the pacing of this film, because I know that's something that's going to come into a lot of people are going to talk about, because it was a 3-hour film
With very different acts. With very different acts.
Yep. This is a very definite 3-act film.
Yep.
Like you
beginning, middle, and conclusion.
You know it when you're in them.
I tempted fate though.
What did you do?
I drank water all day and had a large drink.
Water all day, every day.
No, but I knew I was probably going to take a pee break, and I didn't have to do it.
I took 2 beforehand because I said,
I'm going to be a man and let my bladder explode.
Nope. I said I'm gonna be smart about this. So yeah, it is 3 hours long.
It didn't
We've
feel
gone
like
into
it.
that. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. The first act is like at least 30 to 45 minutes, and it honestly feels like you're about 10 minutes into the film.
Because I questioned you when we were talking about it outside afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, because like when there's one moment that happens, I'm like, okay, the Russo said everything that happens in the trailers have been like the first 10-15 minutes. I'm like, dude, it's only been 10 minutes in the movie. He's like, no, I'm checking my watch. It was like 30,
I was checking my watch because I wanted to see like how. Because I knew we were going to be doing this, so I wanted to see like how is the pacing on this, what's going on, and it was. I don't know if I kept track enough to know how long the trailers were beforehand.
I always give it around 30 minutes for trailers.
Yeah, but it literally was like you said, it felt like 10 minutes in, but it was a lot longer than that.
I think the trailers were only about 15 minutes because we got out of there when the credits rolled at 10:15 or so.
Yeah, it's like 10:15, 10:20.
But pacing wise, I thought it went really smoothly.
It was well put together. It was organized well as far as the story and, like I said, the pacing. Because it was, without going too far into it, it was a ton of story and an ensemble cast of characters.
Yeah.
That each required, or nearly required equal amounts of screen time, just because they're all great.
Yeah.
There are no side characters. Every single character is a main character in this movie.
Yeah.
And they did it well enough to make sure everybody got the shine, and that this monstrosity still flowed as well as it did was just a testament to how much time and effort went into this.
Yeah.
By everybody, but especially, I mean, I gotta give it to the Russo brothers.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just think these guys started out like their big break was Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
they changed the MCU with Winter Soldier.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, they're doing like TV shows before that. They're doing Arrested Development and Community and stuff like that. Yeah,
we interviewed as a team. The Russo brothers.
They did. The way they got the Winter Soldier job, I was reading an article, is that they did the paintball episodes of Community.
Oh, those are amazing. Those are some of the best episodes.
And that's how they got the Winter Soldier job.
Nice.
And so,
dude, what the fuck? Be like, hey,
yeah,
I really like your stand-up routine. You want to direct this Citizen Kane movie?
Yeah. And then you go back and you watch Arrested Development, like the earlier seasons of it, and you see their name on it, and you're like, Motherfuck.
I'm going to do
Now,
that.
this explains everything.
Now, I will say, we were talking earlier, just doing a little round table. Mike had pointed out that there is, with the pacing, there's no downtime. It's a 3-hour-long movie, and there's really no downtime, no filler. It's like everything is like it's fitting and working perfectly.
And it's meant to be there.
It's a 3-hour roller coaster.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it. That was the best thing about it.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, the roller coaster has those ups and downs and everything, but it just keeps you going.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure we all worked that day, but it didn't seem like it was like that stressful and that like it was like
My
is
day
it
was
almost over
good
with?
because of the end of the day.
No, I was
Yes.
excited all day long.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
giddy, and we had I think all of you out there know it. My wife
I
Allison is
know.
pregnant, but so we had a
Having
doctor's
a
appointment
baby.
that day, and I was just like excited all day long, and then got off work.
The baby's cool too.
Got off work early to go to a doctor's appointment, was still excited, and then rushed home to get here in time to go to Endgame. We had a tour of the hospital we were supposed to be going to that we canceled because she and I didn't realize it was on Endgame. I was like, babe, no,
done.
we
Yep.
ain't doing it.
Ain't
We ain't doing it. We'll
happening.
do that later. But
Boy, I've
yeah,
been
I
to a
was
hospital.
giddy all day
Oh, yeah.
long.
Dude, I cut myself short at work. I paid for it Friday.
I
I did what I could to
think
get
I
out
would have
early.
liked to have been at work.
He had some other things going on.
Oh, he had some work. All right. Getting them juices flowing, boy.
There were a lot of fan theories.
Oh, yeah.
that have been
Isn't
going
there
around.
always?
There always are,
Bring 'em.
and there were so many of them that like quote unquote came true, but not the way people thought they would. And I really enjoyed that. Like, and we'll, again, when we get to the spoiler section of this podcast, we'll go a little bit more into that. But I really enjoy that when it's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen, but here it is, and the way they did it was so well.
And it still wowed me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What do you guys think about all the imagery and the CGI and all that kind of stuff? A little more.
Nothing stood out as far as, man, this looks fake as shit.
No,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of points when it could.
Yeah,
I mean,
but Marvel's really good about that.
I mean,
though.
the talking raccoon and tree look kind of fake to me.
They don't actually, though. The thing is, they don't.
I'm saying there's nothing. There's a fucking like 8 foot tall purple fucking alien in the movie. I'm saying everything looked amazing.
Yeah,
I'm just banging a joke about the fucking raccoon.
no, I'm just
a joke.
we know it's a joke, but
Bad
no,
boy.
everything seems to fit. Nothing seems
Yes.
like it was not. Nothing seems like it was put on top of something else and just kind of fit in there.
It's like, yeah, we got to get everything we can in one scene. No.
I think Thanos even looked better in this one.
Yeah,
than the last one.
he did.
Yeah, there were some times where, like, I don't know, you could tell they'd put something over top of a mocap, but his movements just looked
More
That's how you
fluid.
could tell it was a mocap because the movements were so fluid and human-like.
Yeah.
And then we were also talking about before that the comedy really didn't feel. I know people
There was no
they
forced.
complain about the comedy, and there are certain things that we'll talk about a little bit earlier that a lot of people got butthurt about. But I did not feel like any of it felt very forced at all. I don't think anything felt forced
No.
about this movie.
No.
And if anything does feel forced, because there were some things that, again, we'll get into a little bit, that people are complaining was so forced. If it's forced, then everything is forced.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it feels a lot more like, okay, we've had to not do this for story reasons and other movies. We're just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just going to let it go and
Easter
do its
eggs.
thing.
I loved like instead of there's this here, like you can see possibly they just let everything, like you said, go out.
Yeah, they just
Have fun.
just let it go and have fun. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
It really was. It seemed like everyone had a blast on this film, making this film and everything. So that's what we've got that's spoiler free. Let's take
we
a
thought
second.
it was good.
We thought it was good. What,
How many jalapenos spoiler free?
spoiler free jalapenos.
This is our last jalapenos we're giving out.
Can I say one thing? Because it's not a spoiler, but I've been telling people this at work.
Oh, God.
No.
I don't want to hear that.
No,
it's
this.
Let's
not
not
be
be
a spoiler.
after.
It's not a spoiler.
I don't trust you.
Whenever
It is not a
somebody
spoiler.
says,
It's not a spoiler.
I'm not this.
This is not
But-
a spoiler.
No, it's
but,
because I remember seeing a guy in the theater.
okay, so
with his
guys,
phone
real
out,
quick,
and I'm
this
like-
might be a spoiler.
No. When the movie is over,
You
can get up and leave.
Oh, there's no end
There's
scene
no
credits.
mid or end credit
that's,
scenes.
that's not a spoiler. That's been out. Yeah, there are no end scene credits.
But we stayed. I remember we stayed.
Everyone stayed.
Oh, I know.
Everyone has been so trained by
And-
Marvel movies
And
that
the best thing
everyone
about
stayed.
it was there was a kid in front of me with his phone out recording.
hoping that he was going to get it.
And then when the screen went black and the lights came on, I'm like, there's no end credit
There
scenes,
was
bro.
a great tribute to all the original Avengers at the end of it,
with the signing of the signatures and everything.
But no, there is no end
Yeah, so
scene
when the
credits,
movie's
so.
over,
No.
you can get up, go to the bathroom, and take your piss.
Good job, Chuck. I don't consider that a spoiler either. So,
Thank you.
We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back, and we are going to spoil the motherfucking goddamn shit out of this. We are going to dig
You're going to have
in.
to throw this podcast out because it's spoiled.
It is spoiled.
Rotten.
Yeah, so that's what we're about to do. So if you have not seen the film yet, if you're one of the 11 people in the entire globe,
What's the time mark? Do we have one?
we're at 35 minutes.
35 minutes. So if you haven't seen it, turn it off
You have 35 minutes.
now for a little
Well,
bit.
real quick before we do this, like we're recording on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up this has already made 1.2 billion.
The fastest movie to hit $1 billion.
The fastest
all
movie
time.
to hit $1 billion, and the other one that was the fastest before this was
Infinity War.
and it took it 11 days.
Yep.
This has been out in the U.S. 3 days.
Yeah, with the Thursday preview, it's technically a day, but I
And
count.
it got 2 days earlier, so it might be we might technically be able to say 5 days.
I count the Wednesday overseas in limited areas.
24.
And the Thursday.
The 24th was when it came out, though. It's the 28th now. So
4 days. Today is day 5 for the weekend. I count the limited overseas release and the limited Thursday as 1 day.
okay.
So in 3 days, it's made $1.2 billion.
Even if we don't count that, let's just say
4 days.
4 or 5 days.
4 days.
It doesn't matter. It's in less than half the time.
Yeah, Avatar,
1.2
watch
billion.
the fuck out.
Yeah, before this came out, like we were discussing it, and when we saw how much it made Thursday, we're like, can this thing make $1 billion? And like TJ had said, he read articles and stuff. Like it didn't seem like it was possible. Like there weren't enough seats. in theaters.
And
But I think
there weren't enough showings. There weren't enough seats. They said it wouldn't break 270 million domestically. They said
I think it's over 3 or 4. And now
it's $350 million domestically.
I think a lot of
overseas,
theaters
which is killing it.
insane.
It is.
I think it's also the quickest to a certain amount in China too. China is just
China, India,
losing their shit over
and
it.
somewhere else.
And so this is before this because Avatar is something like 2.78
It's
billion.
2.7.
Yeah.
But it had 2 theatrical releases, and it was one of the first to dominate the IMAX.
Well, and
part of it.
below that, Titanic is like 2.1 something billion.
also released a second time in theaters.
I know that, but all I'm saying is the spread between Titanic and Avatar is like $700 million. That's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of movies that come out that don't even make that.
Yeah.
A bunch of huge movies. But in 4 days, 4, 5, 3, whatever you want to say, in not very many days, we're already at 1.2 billion. I think this has the legs to beat Avatar now.
It has the legs because this is 11 years in the making. Like I said, there are people that I work with that have grown up on these movies.
Yeah.
This is something that people are going to see. Because like even TJ said, I'm going to an IMAX to see it with his wife.
I did that on Infinity War as well.
Oh, I know. But you're going to give money to this. I'm going to see it again. And I may want to take my mom to see it.
Yeah.
And make her sit through 3 hours of it. You might see it. And I know Mike might see it again. Huh?
I'm going to say it again.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
This is a cinematic event.
There's just too much to get the first time around.
And also, honestly, I remember a lot from the movie. The whole... Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
We're not in
can't talk
spoilers
about
yet.
that. But that was something that I wanted to bring out. Non-spoilery is $1.2 billion, and by tomorrow, when this podcast comes out,
I'm saying 1.6 because it's literally been it's been hitting 3 and
1.6
over.
means it's only going to make $400 million more. Hasn't it been making about $500 to $600 million a day?
True.
So it might even be more than that.
An indication,
I don't think it's going to hit
the theater here in our area. I've never seen that packed.
No,
never.
The entire theater and all the buildings around it have been having cars parked in them.
Thursday night, there was it was either a GMC Sierra or a fucking Silverado with a boat on a trailer parked on the sidewalk in front of the bank.
Yeah, so they were parked
no
beside the highway.
They were parked
that's
next
way
to
out past the theater. It's just been nuts. But anyway, all that aside, we're going to move on. We about to spoil the shit out of it. Mike's getting bored about us talking about money, so we're going to go into the good stuff.
I almost spoiled it, guys.
Yeah, Ray.
What is?
Just how you have the screen set up. I think it's brilliant. But that's just me.
It's the only way I can make it fit.
I know, but it's just, I love it. I'm all over that.
It's so fucking huge.
Yeah.
That's what she said. That
is
is
so
not my
tall.
case.
To get laid. To get laid.
Ooh, guys, this is what we live for.
11 years,
the
my brother.
internet, you don't want to spoil shit for people who don't want it spoiled, and but you come out of these things, and Allison hates it when she goes to movies with us. When we get finished, we gotta fucking debrief. We gotta talk about this shit.
It's literally a podcast afterwards.
After the theater, we sit outside and podcast, and I wish we would record it sometimes.
I did get in quite a bit of trouble.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
With who?
Katie.
You were here there.
Oh, because you were standing outside for so long?
Yeah. And she circled around 2-3 times. And she's
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Me
not
and
circling
Allison
around again.
drove separate vehicles because she's like, I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And we had gotten in a fight before after another movie when she was like, look, we're going home. And I'm like, So
You're married. You can't do that, man.
I know. But we're fucking super excited about this movie.
Yeah.
We're all fans of the MCU, and this was such a huge thing and such a great thing. Guys, I do have to let you in on this. We love you guys as fans and listeners of the podcast, and Chuck has decided to throw down the gauntlet and say he is going to finish off all 4 of these still reserved for you, the fans and listeners, because you deserve it.
I raised my hand. Like, honestly, I know I spoil shit. I kind of don't want to spoil anything, man. I really don't.
Well,
I've been really good about this movie.
That's what this is for. You guys know the spoilers are coming. We'd let you know. We took a break. We're saying there are spoilers. Chuck's really enjoying his still reserves. So, to turn this off now unless you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, guys,
this is the last warning you're getting.
Yeah, this is the last warning. But also, some people say they like spoilers and everything. Go in this surprised. It's so good. There's a lot of stuff that people were expecting and were fan theories and all, and it happens, but not the way you thought it would be. Oh, yeah. So let's talk about it a little bit. Well, what were some of your favorite parts of this, Mike? Or do we want to go through this a little more chronologically and hit the first 3?
Do we want to do the first act? Then
let's talk a little bit about the first act.
Let's do first act.
First act. What was one of your favorite parts of the first act?
Oh, where they cut off Thanos' head.
That pissed me off so much.
Yeah.
We're just going deep dive.
We're going to deep dive in.
We're going all in balls deep, buddy.
Man,
that killed him.
I was so fucking surprised by that.
When they had them all gussed up like that, I'm like, he's not getting out of this.
Yeah, when they
I didn't think they were going to fucking kill him.
Well, when they rushed in and they just cut his arm off right off, I was like,
they're not fucking.
They're not fucking around.
And he didn't really resist. He was just apathetic. He's like, whatever, guys, do whatever. I don't care.
He semi-resisted, but you could tell he was really weakened.
Yeah, he was like
everything,
and he was completely content.
Yeah.
He set out to do something,
and he did it.
And the other part that gravios from that scene was, they had come to defeat him and undo this. They were going to get the stones and undo it, and he's like, I destroyed them.
And they're like, what?
I did what I wanted to do, and I fucking destroyed them, man.
But it was also the look on their faces when they realized,
we can't do anything about this.
We can't do a thing about him. And Thor's like, he learned his lesson from Infinity War. He went for the head.
For the head. Fucking killed him, man. And that's the part that, like, the build up to that and them getting to Titan and everything felt like no time at all. But it was a good, like, at least 30, maybe 45 minutes.
It literally felt like they were building a while because they're like, Cap's like, we're going to mobilize. We're going after him. Because it was for nothing.
They show the world that everyone's been living in for the last 5 years.
Oh, it was bad.
And,
let's back up a little bit. Tony on the ship.
Yeah.
He's recording a message.
Well, I mean, we've seen that in the trailer.
Well, I mean, getting back to that scene where he's back on Earth, and I didn't necessarily like it. I thought it regressed his character some.
I thought it made sense because I get it because he's still being kind of petty and kind of like fuck you to Cap.
Yeah.
You know,
he hasn't got over his Civil War issues.
It seemed like in Infinity War he was like getting ready to be okay to forgive Cap, but then after all of this he kind of blamed Cap because if they had been together, maybe they could have stopped this.
Mm-hmm. So it talked about them stopping the Ultron initiative.
Yeah. A shield around the world and stuff like that. Yeah. So I feel like his character did regress. Yeah. But purposely, I think it had a purpose instead of just like, oh fuck, well he just regressed because whatever, the writers didn't do a good job.
I didn't like it. I didn't say it didn't have a purpose, and I didn't say there wasn't a story-based reason. I just didn't like it, personally.
I mean, Tony personally got
it was surprising to me. It was surprising to me.
Yeah, it was.
It's like he let everybody down. So he's dealing with all that grief, the burden of it.
He was just pissy about it.
Oh, he was really pissy.
He's some good points in that scene, though. Chuck said, like he said earlier, Chuck was saying that Tony looked really bad in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
He looked horrible.
And which made a lot of sense, considering. But
I did love some of the scenes on the ship with him and Nebula, him trying to teach Nebula to play that little football game.
Yes, that was good.
God, that was so good.
And you also saw compassion from Nebula.
Yeah.
Which was funny because she's literally her life has been just torment and just being fucked over when Tony's asleep, and she just brushes his arm
and moved him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought that scene was really, really good. And of course, people had theorized that Captain Marvel was going to save Tony, and she did.
Oh, yeah.
She showed up, and that wasn't a big deal. There wasn't a lot made of it. She flew the ship back, and they were back on Earth.
Yeah.
And I thought that worked.
Yeah, I'm glad. They didn't waste time with it. They didn't have to show that scene from the end of Captain Marvel.
No.
Because, well, we've already seen it, so why do it? And it's obvious that they sent her to go pick him up. So,
or they either sent him, because I don't know.
They sent her.
I don't know who knew he was on Titan. I almost wonder if she knew. No, Thanos was from Titan, and then she was flying from Titan to Earth.
I think she was just passing through, going to another planet to help out.
Because they said
she was coming to follow the pager.
They said they've been able to track the energy signatures of the stones, too, so they could have just tracked the signature back to that point.
And then she was flying back to Earth or whatever, or to there from Earth.
Also, what message did Nick receive? Find Iron Man?
Exactly.
Isn't Saturn on the way to Earth if you're in the cosmos?
Yeah.
But Titan is not
it's a moon,
the same as... Well, Titan in the MCU is not the same as Titan in the comic books. Yeah. Because Titan in the MCU is a planet, and it's definitely jumps away from...
Okay, I did not realize that. I thought it was still the same moon.
No, it's not
Titan.
The moon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different thing entirely.
It's an actual habitable planet.
Okay, well, but I didn't think that was horrible. I know people love to hate on Captain Marvel, but that did nothing.
No, just like, hey, she's in the movie.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
That made the most sense, honestly.
Yeah, it really did. There could have been other things that could have happened, but it would have convoluted the whole movie. A movie that's already pretty fucking convoluted and has pretty much a lot. Like, Nova could have showed up. Silver Surfer, there's a lot of little things like that could have been thrown in there, but...
I don't think it needed a new character at this point. Yeah. This was not the movie for new stuff.
No. It really wasn't. So you've got that whole first act where they're finding out, hey, everything's fucked. we can't do anything because Thanos fucking killed the stones. They're gone. Everyone's dead.
They're learning to cope with it.
This is
pretty much because it's still 5 years, and they're still coping with it because you have Cap in that support group.
I want to bring that up.
You
think about
push through
the support group was fun because one of the Russos, I can't remember which one, was one of the characters.
Yeah, he's sitting right next to Cap.
Jim Starlin,
yes,
the creator of Thanos, was one
there.
of the other people in the scene. And I honestly feel ashamed because when I'm in a movie, I'm in it. I'm not looking for stuff like that. But I did not realize that's who it was. I had to read that later. So I'm looking forward to seeing that later.
Hawkeye's daughter was one of the Russos. Was one of the Russos' daughters.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that's as much of a cameo
No, it's
thing,
not. But it's still
it's a thing.
They're
It's
throwing
a
everybody
thing.
in.
Getting back to the stones being destroyed, just a minute. It's like another gut punch, though.
It absolutely
Especially
is.
after the end of Infinity War, and then I know a lot of us probably watched Infinity War right before we watched this.
I've watched Infinity War probably 10 times now, 12 maybe.
Because that's the way they found him was he used them again.
And then you get gut punched by it, and you're like, oh man.
See, I'm a different approach because I love the villain, so I'm like I'm rooting for Thanos, even though I know
You're rooting for Thanos because I do like a good villain.
I
but
do.
Also, like it's one of those things that's like, okay, yeah, get the fucking stones back. You can fix this because you want the heroes to win.
At the end of the day, you do. But
you do.
It wasn't as much of a gut punch to me, but it was more like a damn.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was like, fuck. So
He's like,
I thought they were just going to get the fucking stones back, and I thought that was going to take an hour and a half.
I destroyed
But
them.
no, he fucking destroyed them. Now what? Yep. Well, now you get the hijinks. You get the time heist, as Ant-Man liked to put it. So Ant-Man shows up, and he's like, "Hey guys, I've been gone for 5 years, but it was only 5 hours for me. I understand quantum
physics,
time
travel, whatever.
But I don't really understand it. But I sort of do, but I don't. Yeah. So they're like, well, fuck, we can use this and we can get the stones back. And we can, and the center half of the film, that's what it is. It's them trying to figure out how to assemble the stones. Mm-hmm. And I think this was the longest part of the film. Nah. And I think if there's any part of the film that could have been trimmed it could have been this. But
explain how.
No, I get what we're saying.
The power of editing and cinematography. Okay, go on.
Yeah, this is just one of those things that, like, there was a lot going on. I think the and that's the thing. You have a center section, an hour-ish of a film, and you have to get 6 stones. So you have to have 6 different storylines going on.
I feel like we could have cut 30 minutes out of this movie by having Tony not be an asshole at the beginning.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because then he's there when Ant-Man comes back and starts talking about quantum stuff, and they don't have to try to talk him into it.
I think if you...
it's not the same as the movies and all that shit.
I think if you do that, you lose out on some of the...
some of his
child stuff and his kid, because he has a kid
which comes
now,
in later,
which is really fucking sweet. God, his whole family life and everything, like, you lose out on that, so they have to have a. Yeah, hey, I'm gonna come convince you to be a part of this thing, because he tells him no, and then he figures it out.
Yeah.
So it was a very quick part. I don't know if 30 minutes of it worth would have made the movie better.
Well, you had the initial test where they're trying to run it without Tony's formula, which made for some funny moments and stuff, and kind of gave you some things that could be used in future movies. But on the whole, I mean, I get why it was there, but
absolutely,
if your idea was to trim down the movie, that's how you trim down the movie.
Yeah, I think this is the section that could have been trimmed down. Yeah. I think if you trim down the first section or the third section, you're not gaining as much.
Yeah,
this was a good meaty portion of the movie. Was this time heist, trying to get the stones by going back in time and picking them up and everything. But
and getting the players together too.
And getting all the players together and everything. Yeah, absolutely. But saying that, I'm just saying that, like, this is not a complaint.
No, this is if you were going to cut, if there was something that had to be cut,
yeah,
this is what you'd cut. But I don't feel like
was
there's
there
anything
that needed to be cut in this? No, there are things that could be cut. So a couple of fun things that you get reveals in this. This is 5 years later. Natalie is kind of just manning Avengers Tower, or not Tower, but Avengers whatever, where their base.
Yeah, the facility.
And they've sent off Rocket's out doing things. I don't know. Is he with someone?
Nebula.
He's with Nebula. So Rocket and Nebula are out doing things. War Machine's out doing things. Carol's out doing things.
Okoye and M'Baku.
Yeah, they're just out doing things. So they're out, like, sort of avenging. Maybe around Earth. I think Captain Marvel's off planet still.
Yeah. She says specifically she's off planet, and she doesn't know when she'll be back.
So they're doing a lot of this stuff and everything. Cap's got his support group, and they've kind of moved on. And then that's when Scott comes back, and that's the thing that kind of kicks all this off.
Oh, yeah.
Is Scott's like, hey, there's a thing we can do, and so from there. We haven't seen the Hulk or Thor, and we get to visit those two. And both of these were probably one of the, I can't say the biggest surprise, because there was a lot of fucking surprises in this.
Hulk was alright.
Yeah, Hulk has established New Asgard. As a fishing colony, a fishing town, and he's living in a little cottage with Meek and Korg playing
Xbox
Fortnite. Specifically Fortnite, and Korg is getting bullied by people
by children
on Fortnite. And when they show up to see Thor and to be like, hey, we need you back, Thor has gained about 150 pounds.
Thor is channeling his innermost Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Thor has a god body that we can aspire to, guys.
I'm like, the chances of myself getting laid has increased tenfold because I have had the Thor body now by Endgame for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
All I need to know is grow my hair out, braid it.
Grow your hair out. Don't wash it for 12 years.
I know,
for
right?
5 years.
So gross.
Man, he is nappy
Thor
looking.
Is now helping me out.
He is. Yeah, they actually. Tony refers to him as Lebowski at one point, and it is right on. That is exactly who he's channeling, and it is out of control.
The whole movie, almost.
Yeah, that man. He just doesn't want to do anything but drink because he's broken. He's completely broken. He thought he was going to get a chance to correct him not killing Thanos before he killed everyone. And he finds out he can't. So he is completely broken.
Yeah, because when he took his head, he's even like, I went for the head.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't give a shit. Like,
and by that point,
he was broken. Like you said, he was broken.
By that point, he found out the stones were gone, and he's like, well, there's nothing we can do. I can't do anything. I can't fix this.
Yeah.
So he is completely broken, completely drunk, completely difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Who went to... It was Hulk and Rocket.
Yeah, went to get
talk to him and bring him back. So before this, we get to meet Hulk.
Yeah,
who of course everyone knows was not in Infinity War after the first scene where he gets his ass beat.
That 2-piece and a biscuit from Thanos.
Yeah. And we meet him in a diner where he's having quite a hefty breakfast, and it is Professor Hulk, which is Banner's brain and Hulk's body.
Yeah.
And this is such a fun character development throughout the whole movie. I really dug this.
Yeah.
I thought both of them were really different, fun ways to show the characters.
Yeah, these two, more than anyone else, had more physical and I think emotional changes from Infinity War than anybody else. Cap is his normal Cap self. Tony's fucking Tony.
Tony reverted a little bit.
Tony reverted a little bit,
yeah, but not significant enough like Thor and Hulk
after the
did.
5 years, though, he was a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
This
is a drastic.
Natalie was what she was, and Hawkeye was kind of what he was. But these two,
Hawkeye had changed a little bit. Hawkeye,
he changed a lot.
Was very, very cold-hearted and just didn't give a fuck. Like he was willing to just murder whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had some scruples in the other movies. I'll give him that, but
it wasn't.
He wasn't really murdering whoever. He was murdering
anyone he felt like didn't deserve to have survived the snap.
Yeah, drug dealers, gang members,
all
and
the
stuff
baddies.
like that. The Yakuza, the cartels in Mexico and South America. But yeah, but Hulk and Thor, they had some drastic changes in that 5 years.
Yeah.
And I felt both of them were earned from other movies. They weren't. I don't feel they were totally out of character. Some people were thinking Thor was completely out of character.
No.
And there wasn't
I
any
think it fit.
Yeah, and there wasn't any evidence for the changes that the Hulk went through either. I was like, no, they've been telegraphing this for a while.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
Yeah, like Bruce Banner, since the beginning, since before when what's his name was playing him,
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. The thing that Banner has been searching for, he's been wanting tranquility. Mm-hmm. He's been wanting to be able to control himself, and this persona.
He also wanted a cure. He said,
"Well." And this is as much that as it can be.
Yeah.
And
he thought the Hulk was a disease, but he realized it wasn't.
There's so many people that just want Hulk to smash.
Yeah.
And this is a Hulk that has grown. The character and the story and everything has grown into something different. And for him to go smash Thanos, that's such a regression of the character he's become. That would to me honestly be much more of a disservice to Hulk than him being smart and being in control but still being able to be strong. And there was a really fun scene when they do go back in time. When they're in the Battle of New York, and they're like, all right, like one of the things he says is like, I'm the Hulk, but I wear sweaters now, stuff like that. He's being kind of cheesy. He's Banner. And they go back in time to the Battle of New York.
Avengers 1.
And they're like, okay, Hulk, it's time to smash. And he's like, and he like rips his shirt off, and then he goes like to smash things, and he's just like
dropping his hand on a car.
Yeah, he's like so half-ass into it because he just doesn't. That's
he's
not
like,
what
really,
he does
guys.
anymore.
I have to do this, really.
Yeah. So I like that about him. He got the ending he wanted. He might not have gotten the ending you wanted. I know some people like to go to the gym and think they're the Hulk.
Yeah.
And I'm super strong. I'm like the Hulk, and I like they like the.
There's more to it than that.
That's not what this character wanted. This character got what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a good place that like. If what's his name wants to Ruffalo wants to continue to do the Hulk, they can keep on.
Oh yeah.
Or this can be a good ending for him.
Mm-hmm. He'll keep doing it. He's signed up for a lot of movies anyway.
I think Ruffalo has so much fun doing this stuff.
Oh yeah.
He'll do whatever they ask him to do.
Most of his stuff is CGI.
Oh, now especially that was
even before most of his Hulk stuff was CGI, or he was just there on person in like normal clothes. It's not like he's suiting up like Captain America or Hawkeye or anybody else like that. He's just
like this when he was literally green screen this.
Yeah.
He just does
Infinity War. He was regular clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, dude, he enjoys. He's getting a paycheck. He loves what he's
having
doing.
fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the paycheck even matters to him. I think he's just having a blast.
I'm like, I want to have a blast like that.
Yeah.
Disney, hook me up.
Yeah.
I'll be Darkhawk.
So, Michael, what were some of your thoughts on Fat Thor and Professor Hulk?
Finally, a character for me.
Professor Hulk or Fat Thor?
Either.
Little from column A, little from column B. I definitely would have liked to see Hulk smash, but considering there were so many people in this movie, so many characters, that it's understandable that certain ones would take a support role.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty much Tony and Cap's show, and they've kind of, they're the leaders. It's kind of been that from the get-go.
It's kind of full circle for those two too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel that while it may have not been what everyone wanted, so to speak, like everyone said, it showed some real personal growth, because that's one thing you can say about most of all the characters. They've all grown in some way, shape, or form throughout their arc within the MCU, the Infinity Saga. And it really gives Hulk a different aspect to his character, allows him to do a few more things, and also help Mark Ruffalo participate more,
which was something I appreciated, because I always felt like Mark had such a supporting character role in all of this, like even especially in Avengers. It's like he gets like one or two lines. He gets to be a scientist for a little bit, and then he's in stuff.
Avengers 1 a lot more than it seems.
A lot more, yeah. But he did have that whole scene, where there's a lot of arguing, among them in the first Avengers.
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more of that. As far as Fat Thor goes, I thought he was great. I like that he could still kick ass even though he's fat.
Yeah.
And I like that they. While it was a joke in a lot of ways, obviously it was a really big joke. They also gave some humanity to the character.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just that he's lost, against Thanos. He lost his entire family.
Yeah, he had a hell of a week right before Infinity War.
Yeah, he lost his home planet. He lost, a good chunk of his people.
And they also went through the snap too.
Yeah. His hammer, he lost his people, he lost his
brother,
his brother,
Yeah.
his
father,
his sister cut his eye out. I mean, he had a fucking week.
Yeah.
Going into this thing.
Jeez, I forgot about all that shit.
Yeah, and then you come right into Infinity War, and that shit.
He's like the savior of the whole fucking thing, and he let everybody down. And
and then he gets there to get the stones, and then they're fucking gone. Yeah, I can see becoming a drunk bastard.
Yeah, he fell into depression.
Yeah, especially like I did the best I could. I did everything I could. Fucking didn't work.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm worthless.
And that's the thing, it wasn't that he just failed and he lost all that stuff, but he had time to think about it. There was nothing to do.
Yeah,
I think he felt very helpless and impotent in that sense. And
dwelled on the emotion of it.
Like they said, he's been fighting for 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
That in and of itself, that is his entire being.
Yeah.
It makes sense. If you want a character just to kick ass and say witty one-liners, that's that. But
they humanized him.
They took really good characters and then grew them.
Yeah.
And that's what I think movies are all about, because
especially with these movies that are serialized like they are, it's not just a one and done.
Yeah,
You've got this whole world.
Because these are huge CGI fests, these are huge action films, but at the end of the day, it's nothing without being character driven.
Absolutely. And I think if they leave Thor at this, they've done Thor dirty a little bit, but I don't.
I hear
think
people say
he's
that.
done.
What does that mean?
Hawkeye dirty.
He kind of got bitched out in this. Like, he didn't perform to the level that a Thor is expected to perform to. He's fat and drunk and kind of impotent in the whole entire film. He doesn't really do like what he should do. In Ragnarok, you get to see him being, are you the god of hammers?
At the end of Ragnarok,
I know,
he showed up.
But I'm saying,
and he showed up in
Ragnarok,
Infinity War also.
Yeah, and it didn't do anything.
He showed up about halfway in Ragnarok. He showed up in the arena, and then he showed up again at the end. And then in Infinity War, like you said, he shows up when he's pulling the damn focusing lens for the star and everything.
Yeah.
But he shows
I get all that.
But my main point is, like, he goes through all that growth,
Yeah.
and then he comes to Endgame, and it's all lost. He's fat, and he's basically worthless.
Well,
so
because he realized he couldn't stop Thanos.
Okay, but what I'm talking about is
You don't end the character there.
Yeah, you don't end a character at this.
They didn't.
They did. It's over, and he's still Fat Thor. He's still like, he didn't do anything in the movie.
If this is Thor's last movie, they did him dirty.
So, but what I'm saying is,
If they end Thor's story here, if they don't have him, let's ignore what we've seen in the rest of the movie.
Okay.
But if they end him with this movie, if there's if Thor doesn't show up again in MCU ever again,
that's not ending on a high note.
It's not a great ending for a character arc.
So, like you said, ignoring everything we've seen before, right?
No, I'm saying ignoring all the rest of the movie, because we're talking chronologically at this point.
We're just saying it's not a good ending.
Before Thanos had the gauntlet, in this, Thanos is literally, you see why he's a tactician. He beat the shit out of Thor, fat or not. You saw why people were scared of Thanos.
But you also saw Thor beat the shit out of Thanos and basically almost kill him
in Infinity War.
Yes,
he literally threw his fucking axe at him.
Yeah.
Thanos had all 6 stones.
It doesn't matter.
And was firing full blast at him.
Yeah.
And that fucking hammer went through the blast.
Oh, yeah.
And hit Thanos with...
So the thing I'm getting to is, in this movie, if they end Thor here, they've done him dirty. He hasn't... He grew as a character and then completely regressed.
I think it's still all part of the character. It's still part of character development.
That's my whole point. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say here.
You're saying he regressed. I don't think he did.
He has. He absolutely
Chuck is telling
has.
you what you're saying.
No, but he's wrong. He's always wrong. If they stop the story here, if Thor isn't in any more stories, they have done him dirty. I don't think that's the point. They beat him up. They humbled him in other movies, and they built him up. And they've humbled him, and they've built him up. And I think this is another point where they have humbled him because he could not, through brute power, fix what Thanos had done. But if we stop it there, that's a bad ending for Thor. Now, if we have another movie coming up, like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I believe he will be a part of now, they can redeem him, and they can build him back up. Right now, he is in a low place.
Yeah.
Even though they won, he's still in a low place.
Exactly.
Personally, yeah, he's in a low place.
He's
going to be.
Personally, yes, it's exactly the point. Personally,
but there's nothing they can do about that right now at this point.
That's why I'm saying
he has to be there to rebuild his people, but he's not. He's going to leave.
That's why I'm saying throughout this movie, if this was the end, they've done him dirty.
Yeah,
I don't think this is the end.
I think they've completely humanized him. I think I
absolutely
appreciate
humanizes him.
I appreciate it because,
but it doesn't. He's not a human.
End his story.
No, it's not the end of Thor.
He's the god of thunder.
Yes,
he is. So he needs to end on a higher note than this.
Yeah,
we're getting into Lego territory,
but he's
here.
not ending. He's not.
We don't know that. Nothing has been confirmed with Chris Hemsworth.
God,
playing
I'm looking
Thor
at this Storm Reserve. I need another one.
Yeah, you do. You need a couple more.
Because you're starting to piss me off. Just starting to piss me off.
Because you're wrong.
How am I? We'll
move
on
into it.
Okay.
Every podcast listener knows that you're wrong.
Move on. No.
So yeah, like Thor, I think is going to get some more. So I understand if people are like a little pissy. That's your favorite character. You think you got, bitch punted. I don't know what that means, but I think we're going to see more of Thor.
Yeah, Thor's got more going on. This is not the end of his story.
There's more in store for Thor.
Yeah, more in store for Thor.
So
actually, I hope not now.
This is the end of setting up the time heist, right?
Yeah. So we've already.
Let's go into the heist itself.
Setting it up. You're right.
Yeah, let's go into the heist itself because we gathered all the players. We got everybody together.
Yeah.
All right. So the heist itself. So we have Cap, Tony, Hulk, and Ant-Man.
Yes.
going to 2012
Avengers,
because there are 3 Infinity Stones
in New York
at that time. They're assuming that Doctor Strange is there with the Time Stone.
Yes.
They don't know that Doctor Strange doesn't have the Time Stone there.
That's right. Yeah. Because that was 5 years later.
That was their assumption, is that Doctor Strange was there with the Time Stone. Nebula and War Machine go to Morag,
where Quill was picking up the Power Stone originally in the first Guardians of the Galaxy,
which was in 2014.
Yeah,
which set up what I thought was a great gag of them watching Quill while he's singing, because in the first Guardians, it opens up with him singing and dancing, and we're hearing what he's listening to on his Walkman.
Yeah.
But we get to see it from their viewpoint, where they just hear him half-ass
singing,
like everyone fucking does, half-ass singing just the words of a song, dancing through the planet. Man, I loved that.
That was beautiful.
I thought it was great. I got a little bit of Andy Dwyer channeling there. Man. It was amazing. And then we had Hawkeye and Black Widow heading to Vormir.
Yes.
And when they did that, I was like, man,
this is going to be bad.
I knew when they're going to Vormir, I'm like, somebody's dying.
That reaction pissed me off.
And then, what was the last one?
That was
it.
No,
that's only 5.
No.
Thor and Rocket
went to Dark World, Asgard.
Went to Asgard during the Dark World to get the ether.
No, why?
When it was in Jane Foster, because that's the easiest place to get the ether.
Yeah. Really? When they could have just gone to the Collector and got that shit when they brought it to him? Really? That was my one complaint about the movie.
They didn't...
Sorry.
Really? I think you've had more than one complaint.
Yeah, that's your one complaint, and we just had a 45-minute talk about
movie-wise. I'm not talking about the audience. I'm talking about movie.
But no, from Thor's point of view, that's the easiest place to get it.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So
that's the ones we got.
Parts where he could talk to his mom and better, further his character.
Yeah, as the movie goes, that's the best place to go.
Oh, I know.
It's interesting. And I think this is something that I thought was funny, and this is just me theorizing. I think Natalie Portman was contracted for one more movie, and I think this was their way to be like, all right, you're being such a bitch about this. We're going to give you...
get a line?
No, she got nothing.
It was,
They literally could have used scenes from...
I think that's what they did. They CGI'd her.
I don't know. I don't think they CGI'd her. They could have they could have cut completely from Thor Dark World and put it in there, but I think she actually showed up. But yeah, I think that was one of the things that was fun about this, is there are so many extra characters that were in all these other movies that you wouldn't expect to be in an Avengers film.
Oh, yeah.
And they're there. But yeah, Natalie didn't get a fucking line at all. She got a I was asleep on the couch and stood up. Yeah. That was it.
I loved having Renee Russo back.
Yeah. She got a lot. I think that's the most she spoke.
Thor's mom.
Yeah. No, I don't know. She
had quite a few. She had quite a conversation with Thor there.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the most she spoke in all the movies.
Some people thought, and because this has to be a theory with every goddamn movie from here on out, that was actually Loki.
No,
because she gave that line about you failed, that kind of thing. It was kind of a punch towards him, but I don't think that, of course. But people do think that
they were tiptoeing right past Loki's. So.
Yeah, that was funny. I think they think that it was Loki
Tesseract
from the other
Loki.
part, Tesseract Loki. Yeah, but I don't know.
But
I don't care. I think all the Loki
with the way they explain time travel in that wouldn't have fit anyway.
Yeah. But I think all the Loki stuff, like, oh, he's not dead in Infinity War and all that stuff, I think that's all bullshit.
Yeah, me too. I completely agree.
His neck was snapped.
So yeah, we have Rocket and Thor. Thor is, of course, being a bumbling idiot because he's drunk still, and Rocket's trying to
get done.
His shit together.
He's like, hey, we need to get this plan situated, and you're not
helping. He slaps the shit out of him and listen to me. And Thor. But the best thing, the really good thing that came out of this that was really fun, fucking Mjolnir.
Yep.
He calls Mjolnir
he's
back.
just sitting there and he just holds his hand out.
Like he's just waiting, like it should be here.
Here
we go.
That was really fun because there was the rocket scene. He's like, "Wait, what are we doing?" And his mom says, "Sometimes it takes a second."
Man, as soon as that thing hit, I'm like, "Fucking Cap's grabbing this."
Oh, you knew.
Spoiler, TJ.
Yeah, you knew.
I'm sorry, that's my favorite fucking part of this whole movie.
Spoiler.
But still,
so we got that. We've got Cap and Tony and Ant-Man and Hulk. Every fucking person's in New York, and Hulk goes to talk to Doctor Strange, but it's the Ancient One.
yeah,
And she's there, and
which was a nice surprise.
it was a nice surprise. I mean, we knew that because we knew Doctor Strange isn't there yet.
Yeah.
But we maybe didn't know the Ancient One was going to be there. But she got a little bit of stuff. They chit chat, and she doesn't want to give up the stone. And he's like, "Well, Doctor Strange sent us. Like he gave it away." And she's like, "I've either made the worst decision ever, or he's got a plan." So she trusts him, gives it up. Ant-Man goes to get, which one does he?
Ant-Man goes with Tony and Cap.
Yeah,
because they're going to go get the scepter and the Tesseract.
So this is they come
Still
in basically at the end of the Battle of New York.
The most intricate of the plans that are out there.
Yes.
Okay, stairs. That made
it picks up right after that pose. Because they're all posed right around Loki and everything. He's like, "Okay, it's in the posing session, guys. We need to."
Oh yeah, in the Avengers Tower, Stark Tower,
and then
Loki's getting arrested and everything.
Yeah, they're walking down with the Tesseract, and with the Tesseract's in the briefcase, and they've got the scepter, and you get some other callbacks. You get
Sitwell,
Civil War,
the guy from Civil War.
Yeah, you get Jasper Sitwell. You get Robert Redford's character is back.
Winter Soldier.
From Winter Soldier.
Crossbones. I can't remember his name.
Rumlow. Yeah, you get Rumlow, which is one of the best. It's one of my favorite scenes in that movie. Mm-hmm. They get so they're Cap's in his old Avengers outfit, and Tony looks at him. He's like,
new Cap, like our timeline Cap.
Yeah, he's like, "Man, I never liked how that suit made your ass look," or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, "Cap, that suit's not doing your ass any favors."
Yeah.
And somebody says something to the effect of, no, Ant-Man says that's America's ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they go on, and Tony and Cap's plan is to intercept the briefcase when they get downstairs.
Yep.
But the scepter
is in the elevator.
Is in the elevator with Hydra.
Yeah.
But we don't know this. It's with S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's with S.H.I.E.L.D.
This isn't Hydra, or we don't. No one knows this is Hydra yet.
Yeah, the 2012 people don't know it's Hydra, but Cap goes and gets on the elevator with all these guys,
and it's so reminiscent of this.
It's the Civil War scene.
Yeah,
Winter Soldier scene.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
Actually, it's Winter Soldier.
Actually,
so he's sitting there in the thing, and you're like, you feel the tension. And he says, "Oh, the director said I should take the scepter," and they're like, "We haven't heard that. Maybe we should call the director."
And you see one of them unbuckle their gun clip.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
exactly. You know, it's about to go down
scene
again.
for scene from like Winter Soldier.
And fucking Captain America leans over to Sitwell, and he says, "No, it's okay, sir. Hell Hydra." And that is one of the like the comic book callbacks that is like so fucking fan service, but also so like fuck you guys, because so many people were so mad about that.
Yeah,
why? God, I loved it. No, not in the movie, in the comics. Like, Cap would never do that. But it was just another situation where he would.
A great tactical thing too, because it's like,
yeah,
he could beat all their asses.
Oh yeah,
and he could just take this thing
because he did it before.
But he could just say 2 words, take the fucking briefcase right off, and nobody's the wiser.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was
great.
It was amazing.
No, I thought it was great.
Heads up, I'm drunk, guys.
Yeah, no one knew that yet.
Surprise!
I'm just saying. I'm gonna push that one away.
And then,
well, drink some more Still Reserve. You know, we got 3 more to finish.
I like to share with my friends.
The other disputed thing is the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So When they break up the pose session after they beat Loki, they send the Hulk down the stairs because there's not enough room on the elevator for everyone.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
Hulk hates stairs.
just bitching all the way down, which is amazing.
Yes.
And then, so they enact their little plan to get the briefcase and everything, and it's all going off without a hitch.
Yeah. It's too perfect. It's too perfect.
And then Hulk comes in, knocks the briefcase out of Tony's hand, and it goes flying off into busts open. The Tesseract slides over by Loki, and he just fucking disappears with it.
He's like, well, I'm going to take this shit.
And at this point, this is the low point in the heist.
Yeah.
Because we haven't got the Vormir yet. So, this is the low point in the heist, because now it's only... They've got a one-way trip, supposedly. So now it's Cap and Tony send Ant-Man back with the scepter. They got to go to a different time period to get Tesseract.
Yeah.
And some more Pym particles.
Yep.
I honestly, on this, I wondered why. I think that, their plan is questionable, but sort of solid. Like, this could work, but if it doesn't, they're fucked.
Yeah.
But
they didn't play it up as much of a Hail Mary as it needed to have been.
Also, across town, Professor Hulk has the time gem.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just
rewind it just a little bit?
They don't know he has it yet.
Exactly.
And if everybody goes according to how the plan goes, as far as military operations go, this is probably the one that this is probably how it would make the most sense, is that you have to do your mission assuming that everybody else does theirs properly.
Oh, does theirs properly. Okay. Yeah, because I was like, all they have to do is find the Hulk, and if he has the time gem, let's just fucking teleport.
Just
back
rewind
in time.
a little bit, get it, then go to the next
but
one.
As far as they know,
rewind.
He's already back at
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I thought that was all synchronized because they all went back at the same time.
No, it was you had one
Hulk
way
was on
there
himself,
and back.
was on his own. Tony, Cap, and Scott were together.
But when they all went back at the same time.
Yeah,
No,
back
they
to
arrived
2012.
at the same time.
They arrived at 2012 at the same time. But it's like, Hulk, you do this,
but
we're doing this.
They arrived
back at 2019 the same time.
Because that's when they were supposed to return.
Yes.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay, I got it. Time travel. Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Okay, so we're in New York. They fucked up. They decide we have one more Pym particle. We're gonna go to the other place we know this is gonna be 1970s. We can get
capsule base from Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So we can go back there. We know that the Tesseract is there, and we know that there are Pym particles there because Hank Pym is working there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Tesseract's there. So they head back there. There's some sweet moments between Tony and
his dad.
father.
Tony Potts. He calls himself Tony Potts.
No, Howard Potts.
Howard Potts. No, does he call himself Howard
Yeah,
Potts?
because he's like,
Howard
well,
Potts.
that's an easy name to remember because that's my name.
Oh,
Yeah,
I missed
Howard
that.
Stark.
But yeah. So he has some sweet moments with that, and Cap has some seeing Peggy Carter moments. They both get their stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of I thought there was going to be more of we're calling them. Someone's trying to steal something, but there wasn't.
I'm glad because that would have just drugged the movie
That would
out
That'd have
more.
been unnecessary. Well, that's the thing is none of the action was unnecessary.
Yeah.
That they were able to kind of get by, no matter what.
Yeah.
And most of the action was saved for the end
Where it
game.
needed to be.
Yeah. So they get their stuff. They go back. They go back in time. Then we have Clint and Natasha.
Yeah.
Of course, they meet the Red Skull. They don't know who he is either, which is I feel like
That's
maybe,
strange. I feel like Black Widow would know who the Red Skull is.
I feel like anyone from Earth would know who he was, but they didn't. Regardless, and there's a whole tussle between those two because you know from Infinity War there has to be a sacrifice, and of course Natasha's like, well. They finally decide, they get in an argument, Red Skull's being impatient, and Natasha's like, well, it's going to be me, and Hawkeye's like, no, it's going to be me.
Yeah.
And they get in a tussle, and fucking Natasha throws herself off the side, and Hawkeye wakes up with the stone, real fucked up.
Well, yeah,
pissed
you're
up about
skipping
it.
the fact that he was holding on to her. He didn't want to let her go.
No, he would. That's what I'm saying. They got in a tussle.
They
and,
did
Oh, it's
do a
necessary to do
cliffhanger
a
throwback.
blow.
Yeah.
Oh, cliffhangers.
So we have that. Nebula and Rocket are off to get the Power Stone.
Nebula and War Machine.
War Machine, sorry. And they, yeah, so they end up getting the Power Stone, and everyone's going to go back in time, and that time period's Ebony Maw, realizes that there are 2 Nebulas on her network at the time.
Nebula shows a video of
Future.
of something from the future, and then in front of Thanos, and he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck is going on?" And so Maw investigates it and finds out what it is and reports it. They do a deep dive into every memory that Nebula has.
Yeah.
From this other, because of the
future
quantum,
Nebula.
because of the quantum nature of it, the memories are getting cross-referenced over that network that she uses for her
Cybernetic stuff. Yeah, I think this was probably one of the most well done things in all of Endgame, because it tied up so much stuff, and it showed a lot of stuff that I didn't realize needed to be explained, and it really didn't need to be, but it enhanced everything. So from all of this, Thanos finds out that Nebula in the future is helping these good guys.
She portrays
this Nebula that Thanos has known forever has been 100% dedicated to him.
Yep.
And honestly, like the whole entire thing, it's one of those things where Thanos had been fine with Nebula. Nebula was his daughter, just like Gamora was.
Yeah.
Now he finds out this stuff, and he is
goes into preventative measures.
Well, that, and like this is why Thanos treated Nebula the way he treated Nebula. Nebula would have never crossed him or like betrayed him or anything, except for the way Thanos started treating her after he found this stuff out. So, like, it's one of those time travel weird things where it's like, okay, Thanos Thanos actually created Nebula to be the Nebula she is now to oppose him. It was his fault that she did all this. But, I mean, time travel, you don't know that shit going into it. But it fleshed out a lot of the Nebula stuff, because you're like, she is such a fucking dickhead. And you get to see a Nebula that's not a dickhead. She's just very...
you can tell she's an abused person.
She is. And she is seeking out Thanos' approval. But at that point, Thanos is giving her that approval.
Yeah.
After that, he is withholding all of that approval and everything. So I thought that was that to me was like one of the deeper parts of all of this. That was really good.
She got fleshed out pretty well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it showed a lot of stuff. So
and you got to see the growth that she's had too,
absolutely,
since Guardians 1.
I think she's fleshed out a lot more than some of the other Guardians.
Well, Guardians, but you see how she is in Guardians 1, and then you get
Guardians
to see
2.
how she's changed during Guardians 2,
then
and Infinity War, and then once you get to Endgame, you get to see those.
Because she got a lot more time in
differences.
Infinity War.
Yeah, I think
she's the one that you get to see the biggest differences in, because you get to spend more time with 2014 Nebula and current Nebula, and you're like, there's a lot of growth there.
Beautiful character.
Yeah.
That's a nice art.
That. I really enjoyed that. So is that all the stones at that point?
Yeah, because getting the Power Stone's kind of uneventful.
Yeah. Other than they find that out, and Nebula ends up staying behind because they like lock her. Everyone goes back to
she gets locked in because of her tech.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They do that to her. So everyone else goes back to the current timeline. She stays there, and then they play a switcheroo with her past Nebula with future Nebula and stuff later on in the in the thing. But that's most of the stones and everything. And like I said, that was probably the longest part of the movie. Was this time heist, as Ant-Man calls it. But it had a lot of good payoff. And it was a lot of fun. It was, again, for the end of the Infinity Saga. You got to do a lot of callbacks. You got to see, some other behind-the-scenes things and everything.
Yeah.
I think all of that was well-deserved and
really
well thought out.
The behind-the-scenes stuff from the first Avengers movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like how things got to where they were at the end of it. It was a really nice callback at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, and one of the things I don't think we mentioned was Loki.
Oh, yeah, getting away, brother.
So while they're trying to get the Tesseract, the reason they have to go back is because there's a scuffle. The Tesseract falls out. Loki picks it up and fucking disappears.
Well, no, it's because the Hulk was told to go downstairs because there's no room in the elevator.
Okay. What else we got?
All right. So now we're on Act 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got all the stones.
Mm-hmm.
Tony makes a
Iron
Gauntlet.
Iron Man gauntlet to hold them.
Yeah, to house the stones because they're going to basically recreate the snap.
There's a brief debate on who's going to do it.
It ends up being
the Hulk because most of the radiation given off by the gauntlet is gamma radiation, which is what specifically powers the Hulk.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird, and very specific, but whatever.
That gave off gamma radiation?
Yeah.
But also, he's the most powerful. I mean, technically, if they were going power-wise, it either had to have been Thor or the Hulk to do it.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the Hulk's really last big thing he does in this movie.
Yeah,
he does hold up the building as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the main thing involved in the main storyline. And fuck, he does it. He snaps.
He unsnaps.
Yeah,
he snaps to unsnap.
Yeah.
Yes, he re-snaps to unsnap the snap.
There you go.
Basically happened before.
But with the stipulation that nothing that has changed over the past 5 years goes back.
Because this was a specific thing, because Tony has a family now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to give that stuff up.
Yeah, he has a daughter, Morgan, and he doesn't want to lose that.
So whatever happened comes back.
Yeah, everybody comes back just as they were.
Yeah.
Except it's 5 years later.
Uh-huh.
Which
it's a problem.
We will talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
it's your argument.
But the snap occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk's
arm is wrecked.
Crazy.
It's cooked. Ant-Man walks into, like a viewing area, and to kind of look around and sees, a ton of birds, which you haven't heard any animals at all during the entire movie.
I didn't notice that until that scene.
Because they themselves were snapped. Well, it could be something that could just be simply overlooked as, like a Foley artist. It could be just, just an afterthought. But then when, they show it, then you realize the absence was intentional and it wasn't just an oversight, which I would say I wouldn't expect any oversights because the attention to detail in this movie, as far as story, setup, and plot, was everything. Yeah, it was very organized, very, very well put together. And of course, once that gets done, while that all is happening, Thanos, his ship
Nebula
comes into orbit.
2014 Nebula goes in to the quantum machine and opens up a portal for Thanos'
That's how
ship
they do it. Yeah,
to get there.
Yeah,
and fucking brings back Thanos' whole goddamn ship and army.
Yeah, and he proceeds to just nuke Avengers headquarters from orbit. Basically,
it literally looked like a fucking scene from Doom. It was like hell on earth when he was done,
and they destroyed everything. Somehow, everyone survived.
Somehow,
I don't know how.
I'll be honest, that kind of surprised me. I thought somebody would have died in that.
Crushed to death, like Hawkeye or somebody, who doesn't. I mean, he was kind of plot proof because of his family.
Yeah,
but so was Tony.
By that point,
Yeah. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Thanos comes down. Clint, Hawkeye, finds the gauntlet within the rubble, and he immediately starts getting chased by what are they called again?
Outriders.
The Outriders.
Yeah.
Thanos' backup goon squad. He does just some
Thanos sends Nebula after the gauntlet.
after the gauntlet
And he
as
says,
well.
I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah, he just parks his ass down and just starts to monologue.
Yeah,
Well,
villain style.
This is why I'm super smart.
But this is the beginning of the actual end game.
The battle.
The actual end game. We've waited 2 hours, maybe plus.
Bladder aching.
Yes.
Stretched to its limit.
Yeah.
And this is what we've all been waiting for. And when I talk about someone dumping a bucket of toys on the
They
floor,
literally dumped a fucking
that's what
bucket.
this is.
They dumped 10 years worth of
gotta-
stuff into this. But there
but
is
it
a
starts with a
preface.
trickle.
Yes.
So you
It
get
does.
Cap and Thor and Tony. The big three.
The Trinity walking.
So they go out to meet Thanos. And
This
Thor,
is also the first time you've seen Thor like suit up.
Yeah.
And I think like he does some kind of like lightning thing that changes his costume,
His
and
robe to its suit.
It also braids his beard.
It also braids his beard, and you think like maybe they're gonna like all of a sudden he's gonna be God Thor
Yeah,
again.
I thought it would be like ripped like
Nope.
Jesus. No, it's still fat.
Still fat as fuck.
and he holds out both hands.
I'm
And
sorry.
at that point, you're like,
I'm sorry.
I didn't think he brought Mjolnir back.
Christ
Yeah.
imagery.
And
Nope.
then he and fucking Mjolnir and Stormbreaker come in his hands. And
All
it's
over
like
his
and at
hands.
that point, I leaned over because I knew earlier when he had it, I'm like, Cap's gonna get this. I leaned over to Katie. I'm like, Cap's getting this hammer before this
yeah.
I
thing
just
is
wanna
done. And she's like, what? I'm like,
Pish posh, TJ.
yeah.
I think Dad Bod Thor is this final form. That is when he is at his best. Because goddamn it, I can look up to that. That's a body I have.
But-
all right, let's keep going.
And so they stroll out to meet Thanos.
And of course, you get the monologue from the it
the
brought
last
you all
trailer.
back to me.
Your
That kind of
failures
stuff.
have brought you all back to me.
Yep. And it's okay. Well, you know what?
Let's go.
If
Put your money where your mouth is.
I
motherfucker.
destroyed half the universe and you guys still did all this shit to do it, I'm just going to recreate the whole fucking thing.
And fuck
Yeah,
you
If
up
I get it
again.
back. So now stakes are higher than they were before. However, they couldn't get that higher. And then shit goes down. Cap.
Because it wasn't just I'm going to destroy everything. I'm going to the reason it failed is because certain people remembered. I'm going to destroy everything, and you're never going to know about it.
Yeah.
So it's amplified now. It's like, oh,
He's
so
like-
if he wins this time, no one will ever know he won,
Like
and
he's
no one will
changing
ever know.
like he's literally going to change the future by erasing the past.
Yeah, he's erasing everything.
And like he hasn't even been part of that future yet. So it's a big mind fuck to me.
Yeah. So then the fight commences.
Oh yeah.
And
the
people
fight
are,
to end all fight.
and Thanos
This is when the Russos
kicking ass.
Dump that bucket.
Thanos is kicking some ass. He's beating down Iron Man. He's beating down Cap. He's got Thor on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Knocks Mjolnir out of his hand, and he grabbed Stormbreaker when it was flying back to Thor.
And he's
He
like
grabbed
cutting
it.
into Thor.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
Well, Cap, yeah, has been like beat the shit out of him by Thanos, and his shield's fucked up.
it's not beat up yet.
It's not,
this
it's
isn't-
not
not
yet.
yet. Okay.
Yeah,
Not
it's
yet.
not beat up yet.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
He's just
you're right.
been knocked around.
No, this
a
is
bit.
the stage where like Thor's
Yeah.
shooting electricity in the
Thor's-
back of Iron Man's.
Thor's
yeah.
sitting there,
back
and Thor's on the ground. That axe is
Cutting
digging
into
in,
him.
digging into
Yep.
the chest.
And-
Boom.
and fucking Mjolnir comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
And fucking Steve Rogers
See,
holding it.
I legitimately, like, me and TJ were talking about this on the way over. I thought he was going to grab it and throw it to Thor to help him out. And then TJ's legitimate Mortal Kombat, I'm whooping your ass came out.
Yeah,
So.
you got
Yeah.
like what felt like 33 minutes of Captain America beating ass with Mjolnir
And his shield.
and his shield, just left and
Like,
right.
I literally thought he was going to just throw it to Thor, and that was going to be it. And Thor was going to have, he was going to be able to
I know for me
overtake,
and Mike,
but no.
that was like,
Oh, it's badass.
God damn, there's not. That was my big moment in
This
that
was
movie.
the biggest fan service moment
Yeah.
in the whole entire movie. You knew it was coming.
I
had
didn't
no
realize
idea.
it was that.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I
this
wasn't 100%. I was hoping, but I didn't have
I knew it was coming.
Halfway through the fight, I'm thinking in my mind, combo break.
Like I said,
when Killer Instinct.
Especially when
Because when he did
Mjolnir
the
showed
throw
up.
Mjolnir
Yeah, when
with
he-
the
when he
hammer.
grabbed
One
it.
conversation at a time.
Yeah, when he grabbed it on Asgard during that time frame, I'm like, okay, Cap's going to end up with this somehow. But I was still kind of surprised when it showed up at the fight. And then, it was not a surprise necessarily, but it was like,
You'd forgot about it for a second.
I was just hoping beyond hope that this would happen, and it finally fucking did. And it's not like Cap grabs it and like smacks Thanos around with it. He's like using fucking lightning powers. He's like comboing
that was
with
what
the
I was
shield.
surprised with. Yeah.
using it to fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just beating ass,
Well-
and it was amazing.
He was worthy. Wolf gained the powers of Thor.
Yeah, you just can't use the hammer. You gain all the powers
of Thor.
I will say though, sucks for that Thor in that alternate universe.
Well,
he gets it just fucked.
He gets it back,
Yeah, he
but
takes
after
it
a
back
while.
at the end
Oh, he does.
with
Yeah.
all the stones. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did have it in his hands.
But if he needed it, he didn't have it
But he got it back instantly.
later.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
They go back to the same time.
Does that mean they had to inject Jane Foster?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ether?
Actually, yeah.
This is what you get, Natalie Portman.
Natalie
That
Portman,
sucks.
I'm going to inject you.
Fuck you. I'm going to inject you.
Well, she's cute, but let's keep going.
But so we get a lot of that, and we get a lot of Thanos just beating ass. So the Avengers seem like they are at the top of their game, with the exception of Thor and Hulk, maybe. But Cap and Iron Man are at the top and beating ass, and it is not enough.
Yeah.
Hulk really
Thanos-
didn't do anything in that.
That's what I just said.
That's what, yeah. That's what he said.
Thor was holding his own. All Hulk did was slap, and
Thor
that's it.
wasn't at the top
Okay,
of the
let's
game.
not argue. Let's.
But so what we're having
So that-
Captain America's beating.
That fight's going on. You've got Ant-Man rescuing Hulk
Yeah.
and War Machine because they're trapped at the bottom of the building. They're about to be flooded in.
Which was maybe a callback to the Hulk Inhumans comic book. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you got
Secret Wars,
Hawkeye's barely getting away from the Outriders.
because they want that gauntlet.
Yeah, and he stumbles a bit,
Mhm.
and then Nebula and Gamora show up, which is 2014 Gamora.
Mhm.
They show up and they kill other Nebula when she gets the gauntlet from him. And then it comes back. We go back to the fight. Cap gets his ass kicked. Shield
Fucking
busted,
shield's
in
busted
half.
up. Yeah,
That was such a
Thanos
great
busted
scene.
his shield
That-
the
no,
fuck
Just
with his
beating
sword.
and beating that shield with that murder death helicopter
he's like-
propeller.
Which brought me back to a tweet that Chris Evans had put out at one point. Someone asked Mark Hamill and Chris Evans, what would happen? Can Luke Skywalker's lightsaber cut the shield in half?
Uh-huh.
And Mark Hamill was like, well, in the Marvel universe, probably not, but in the Star Wars universe, absolutely. And Chris Evans said, well, then you done fucked up, because he did not say it this way, but he said, you done fucked up because now I've got vibranium ninja stars. So I was hoping we were going to get some fucking vibranium ninja star action.
Which would have been badass.
Yeah.
So Cap, Thanos is like, okay, you know what? You guys have fucked around enough.
Yeah, I'm done playing.
pissed. I'm done playing.
Mhm.
And he calls down his army, which is, his
The entire Black Order.
the Black Order's back.
Yeah.
All of the
Outriders,
the
all
Outriders,
the Chitauri.
the Chitauri, all those creatures and shit. And Cap kind of straps on that shield and stands up in front of them.
that he's done it so many times where he's like, all right, I'm almost out, but I'm ready for the next round. That
Yeah.
strapping up the broken shield. He's
Yeah.
like, this is my last stand. That was a great
Yeah,
scene.
he walked out there, and it's still at that point, you think, man, I don't know what they're going to do.
No. But he still doesn't have the gauntlet. No one has the gauntlet.
No
yet.
one. The gauntlet's still in play, You're thinking,
But Cap is gonna
shit's
do.
fucked.
He's on his last leg, and he's like, I'm not going to stop until I stop breathing.
And Mike, I'll give you this part.
Do it, baby.
Well, did we talk about the Ring of Fire yet? I don't think so.
I don't think we've gotten there yet, have we?
No, I think this is where it happens, doesn't it?
No, it's a little bit later.
Not yet. That happens after.
Oh. So I'm assuming what happens is, well, Cap's probably not going to make it, but he's defiantly looking up at Thanos saying, "Not today, motherfucker."
Yeah.
Yes.
And in so many words.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, just as things are about to get ugly, that unsnapping starts to take effect, and hundreds of Doctor Strange-esque, spell portals.
You hear that line first, though.
Yeah.
What line?
You get a "Hey Cap"
Oh, yeah,
on your left. And I swear to God, there were a couple of points in this movie where I teared up, but it wasn't because this was happy or this was me, my insane amount of joy of I know what's about to happen. It's what everyone knew was going to happen. I'm so excited to be here right now because it's Falcons. Of course, the callback to when Cap was running along. Winter Soldier on your left, and like you said, all those Doctor Strange portals open up.
See, I didn't hear that line.
Well, too bad for you because that killed me.
Ass whooping
Yes,
begins
Jesus.
The wizards,
all the space,
the sorcerers, all the space wizards, the Guardians start pouring out. Falcon starts pouring out.
Bucky.
Bucky. You see Black Panther
and all his
Shuri and
people.
Okoye.
Yeah.
Just walking out. just dick swinging.
Weren't they? Did I see wrong? But I thought I saw the Guardians coming through too. And
Guardians?
As Guardians.
Asgard, yes, the Asgardians, and also the like you said, the other wizards,
the space
all the people,
wizards, the
all the people
Asgardians, because
from
Valkyrie was leading the
Wakanda.
Asgardians.
Yeah, all the people from Wakanda. There were armies. There were multiple armies that were also. It wasn't just our main players.
It was like Lord of the Rings type level shit.
And then everybody comes out, and Cap comes out with that Avengers Assemble.
Finally,
we've been waiting
finally
on
get it.
11 years, man.
Oh man,
it was something to behold.
Yeah, I saw the movie on Thursday. We're recording this Sunday night, and I've done nothing but pretty much think about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is what you've been waiting for. This is the crescendo. This is the climax of it all.
And not even just of this film. This is the crescendo
of 11 years.
Not quite 11 years, because you don't know this is coming in Iron Man. You don't know this is coming in Thor and First Avenger.
No, but I'm saying,
but you get a little bit in. We've been waiting for something like this forever, and oh God, did it? It was a payoff, because there's so many films and franchises that when they go into sequels and go into other things, you don't get the payoff that you want.
No.
This film was not as good as Infinity War.
It was almost.
I swear to God, if you don't get every fucking payoff you want, I don't know what's wrong with you.
You get your money's worth in this movie.
And I mean, that's what this is. All of a sudden, every character that you've ever wanted, and there's plenty of bad guys to go around.
Guys,
there are hero moments everywhere.
And our boy is back. You see Spider-Man swing through the portal. Oh, boy.
And him and Tony get a sweet little moment,
little hug, and then Spidey proceeds to just
the last few
destroy.
Oh yeah, but before that, he explains to Tony everything that's been going on, which was such a this Peter Parker moment where he's like,
Mr. Stark,
and then we dusted, and then we were gone, but then we were back, and it was 5 years later.
And the wizard said, "Now it's time for us to go." Okay,
Space Wizard,
so good.
Man, and Oh God!
This is like the Battle of Helm's Deep.
It is
where Gandalf
like Lord
comes
of the
over
Rings
the hill.
type shit.
No, this is
Helm's
like
Deep.
Lego movie type shit.
Where
Everybody from everywhere is just fighting.
Yeah, it's just
And there's some really cool stuff.
This is what the Ready Player One scene should have been.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a.
I hated Ready Player One, but regardless, this was the ultimate for fan service. It was everything was great, and we've skipped, and we actually haven't mentioned everything for the fan service.
We somehow didn't mention all 3 hours of the movie.
No, I'm saying in this battle, there's so much that has been we haven't even talked about or come close to it yet.
We're at the beginning.
Yeah, but
so much to go.
There's just so much going on in this, and it is. Oh God, it is so satisfying, honestly.
Yeah.
And everyone gets to shine. Everyone does something, especially with the keep away they do with the gauntlet, especially Black Panther. Just, him jumping around and you can tell he's getting his ass kicked because, he builds up that concussive blast quite quickly.
Yeah.
A lot.
Multiple
Thanos
times.
negates it. Because wasn't it Thanos that literally hit the ground and just knocked it oblivious?
I don't know anything
I think
about
so.
that.
I think it at that point's when Peter gets it. I think.
Yeah, because right after it goes Black Panther, then Peter, but literally he's building up, and before he can unleash anything, Thanos literally just boom, and it's gone.
Then Peter gets it.
Black Panther.
Yeah, because he can release that blast from a suit.
Yeah.
Thanos negated it.
And then, so Peter's going along with it, pulls out insta-kill mode with the Iron Spider.
Yeah, he's just like, because the Outriders the Outriders are, overpowering him, and he's like, insta-kill! And of course, the eyes go red, and then his arms get really stabby.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Jesus.
And this is also one of the cool things that I first saw in Avengers, and it's something that they repeated multiple times throughout this movie, and not just other characters, but characters by themselves. Just the flow of combat and like playing off each other. The scene in Avengers, I'm talking about, was when. Iron Man shoots his repulsor rays, and then, Cap guides it with his shield.
Yeah.
You get the same thing, especially at the very beginning of the fight with Thanos. Tony arranges his suits into like these giant repulsors set up, and he's like Thor or something. He
charged it up.
Yeah, and he shot lightning into the back of this reservoir in the back of Tony's suit, and of course that's when Thanos helicopters the energy away. But that was cool.
Double sword.
But specifically
That tag team move.
Or when Cap was using Mjolnir and bouncing it off of the shield. Or specifically, and the reason I brought it up for this scene was also when Pete, throws some web on Mjolnir and allows it to drag him across the battlefield.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, when Cap threw it across this. At one point, Cap and Thor are out there holding their hands out, and Mjolnir lands in Thor's hand, and Stormbreaker lands in Cap's hand.
Just switch, and you take the smaller one.
Give me the big one.
God. They're
just sharing with his toys. I want the big one though.
Scarlet Witch gets an incredible scene where she's just like owning Thor
for the second
his
time.
ass.
Yeah, that's why Scarlet Witch. That's why everybody else needed to show up beforehand, because Scarlet Witch was still dead at that point.
Yeah.
She had to come through the Wakanda gate.
Yeah, but she's just like beating ass, and she like this sword that Thanos has like just broke Cap's shield, and she like busts the shit out of it and everything.
And she starts
fucking
using her psychic energy to peel back his armor like a can of tuna.
Oh yeah,
she does. I thought she pulled it all off.
She peeled most of it off.
Got it to where he looked like an Infinity War
and then
at
he
the
was
end.
like sitting there, like almost crucified, and she's squeezing him to death.
Oh, she had him on the ropes.
Yeah,
and that's what she was doing. She was crushing him with his armor.
That's when they did the rain fire.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So his whole ship starts shooting like missile bombs. Blowing the fuck out of everything.
They start bombarding everything with some kind of energy blast.
It looked like hell on earth.
And they took out everybody. The Outriders. It was collateral damage. Throughout.
The wizards are throwing up shields.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Things are getting protected.
The only people who are actually getting dead are his own troops.
Mostly. Yeah, because I think the Maw complains. He's like, oh, but what about our troops? And he's like, I don't care. But this is the point where we finally get the entrance of Captain Marvel again.
Captain
She's been
Marvel.
off. She's on her way back, and she finally gets back at this exact moment. Thank goodness. And she does her finishing move, which is to blow the fuck up a spaceship.
Just fly through a spaceship a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Gone.
Just blow the shit out of it. And this is one of the things, like, there were a bunch of crybabies that were like, oh, Captain Marvel, they're making her too powerful. She's going to one-shot Thanos.
They kept her in check.
Yeah, like, she's still very fucking powerful. She took on Thanos multiple times in this movie and held her own. But, they didn't use her. She wasn't like the superstar of this whole movie.
Nope.
I think I think she played a very good role in it.
She was very limited.
She showed up and blew up the ship, and then they continued the rest of the fight.
Well, she pulled the cap fight, or the cap sequence where she held Thanos off. But just the fact where she's holding Thanos back and he headbutts her.
Well, and they're pretty equally matched. She might have a little bit of a thing, but he grabs the power stone.
'Cause after he headbutts her, he's like, "This didn't work."
Well, that's when they get during the when she gets the gauntlet for the relay scene.
Yeah.
When she gets the gauntlet for the relay scene, brings up one of you two's favorite parts of it, which was an A-Force nod.
Yeah, I love this because I've read A-Force, and that was a lot of people are bitching about this on the internet,
it's retarded.
All I have to say to them is suck my dick.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there was a point where
suck their dick.
yes. Wow. This is not a feminist propaganda being shoved down your fucking throat.
It's in the comics.
If this took you out of the movie because it was so ridiculous,
in the first place,
the scene with Mjolnir and Cap should have taken you out a long time before. If not, you're just a fucking dickhead. But this was so fun. This was one of those things. Like Allison, of course, she didn't watch Captain Marvel. She doesn't read comic books. She knows comic book stuff. What I tell her, and watches some of these movies. And she was like, "That was a lot of fun." Because was it who was trying to get the? Was it Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel was
she was trying to get the gauntlet to Ant-Man so they could get rid of it.
Yeah,
and they all the girls, all the ladies,
like Shuri, Wasp, her, everyone
all pop up, and they're like
Rescue,
which we haven't even brought up yet.
Talked about her.
Pepper Potts as Rescue, like another Iron Man suit. All of the ladies from the MCU show up to like clear the path and fight the way, and it is a beautiful,
it's amazing,
fun nod to A-Force, and I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Because literally when they showed up, I would literally, because Ray was sitting next to me, I'm like, A-Force, and he just looks over and he's like, yes. Yep. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Because there've been some talks about an A-Force, and they've talked about the females of MCU maybe having a more of a thing in the next. I don't know what we're not calling it a phase anymore. I don't guess the next saga, maybe
the next thing,
the next saga.
But the next saga.
Dude, I'm down for it.
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think you're a bitch if you think that it's
as a long time X-Men readers, though, Ray, we're used to the females being the most powerful members of the teams.
Yeah. It's like my only...
Well, that and my penis is not incredibly small, and I'm not super insecure about my masculinity.
I'm not saying that,
but like like my Force knowledge is I have a Marvel Legend set with She-Hulk, Elsa Bloodstone, Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, which are none of the people in this, but it's still
none
fun.
of the characters that were in there, and I'm like, hell yeah, man! That's pretty damn awesome.
I loved it. It was a great nod back to Infinity War as well, because you had the similar scene with Scarlet Witch and Black Widow and Okoye.
Yeah,
fighting Proxima. So you had some. It was a nice nod to that. It's a nice nod to A-Force.
Possible future for it.
It was great.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was fun, and there's
like
no reason
everything else in this movie.
I saw people talking about, oh, I almost walked out of the theater. Well, you are a dumb
you should have
bitch.
been.
Yeah, I don't want you watching the fucking... Yeah.
Larry had your $11.
Yeah,
Go fuck off.
I literally, like I said, I was talking. Like Ray was next to me. I was like, "Holy shit!" And he's like,
No, that was fun.
I was like, I enjoyed
absolutely
that.
fun.
So Captain Marvel gets stopped by Thanos. Thanos gets the gauntlet. She's fighting him back with it, and then he pulls the Power Stone off and is able to knock her out.
Slaps her off. I was like,
bust the
"Holy
shit
shit!"
out of her.
Yeah.
But that was a fun thing because,
It showed how intelligent Thanos is.
well, Thanos is already like, he's fucking strong already.
He is. He doesn't really.
And
need
he's
the
holding
gauntlet.
his own. Like everyone, those two are holding their own. But he's like, fuck that. I'll just take this Power Stone and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, because he literally just negated everything else he had and just used that one stone on her.
Yeah.
I was like, that's beautiful.
So it was good.
Yes.
And then, so we'll wait for anything else you got to add, Mike? About up to this point?
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have covered it pretty well. I think we're getting, to the end game of the end game, so to speak.
I don't want the end game to happen.
Well, about this time,
Yeah.
I think that the gauntlet kind of ends up pretty close to Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos got the gauntlet. He's about ready to go.
And he almost snaps.
Tony
at this point.
looks, he's about to snap. Doctor Strange looks at Tony, and he holds up one.
Yeah.
Just the one finger.
And then I think all of us knew where that was going at that point.
Especially with Doctor Strange bargained for Tony's life with the stone he was sworn to protect. That all the space wizards, all the human space wizards were sworn to protect. I forget what they're called, like specifically.
Sorcerers.
One's called Sorcerer Supreme, but there's a name of them. They said such and such were sworn to protect the stone.
I don't care. Space Wizards is the fucking name for them now.
That's what they call
Even though they were
Jedi.
never in space.
I don't care.
That's what they call Jedi.
Space Wizards are fucking awesome. That's what it's staying as.
All right.
But
Chuck's too drunk to argue with.
No, Space
their
Wizards are fucking
wizards.
awesome.
Steel Reserve is
I'm agreeing with Mike.
sludging through his
it's hardening his iron will to steel.
I'm not drinking anymore. That's garbage.
So
You're supposed to drink
you guys
two
heard
more.
it first. First Steel Reserve review right here. This is a new part of. This is going to be a new season, which is Chuck drinking terrible beer and then doing a subpar review on it.
Bud Light's next, bitches.
And I thought I said fart tire. I'm like, damn. Okay, but you're not drinking fart tire ale, unfortunately. So the gauntlet ends up in front of Thanos. They keep playing hot potato with the thing. Multiple people try to get it off of him. He keeps almost snapping. They keep stopping him. Like edge of the fucking seat. Dick in your chest. It is just ridiculous how stressful the scene is. Because they made it clear, no one is safe.
Yeah.
That's correct.
But like TJ said, Doctor Strange and Tony lock eyes. He holds up that one, referring to out of the
105.
Yeah, 605 possibilities or outcomes that Doctor Strange saw. We only won one. And considering he bargained for Tony's life, by giving up the time stone which he was sworn to protect, I think it all kind of made sense to Tony, and
The price is very high.
he was there, so he goes in, he grapples with Thanos. Thanos beats the shit out of him again, throws him away. Nobody's there to stop him.
Snaps his fingers.
Thanos
snaps his fingers.
and everybody sighs, everybody holds their breath.
And
Nothing happens. And about that time, Thanos goes, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then you go over and TJ, please.
Well,
Yes.
he turns the gauntlet over and it's empty.
Yes. Highly empty, all of them
pissed
gone.
me off.
And then you flash over to Tony.
Oh, gauntlet.
Yep.
Iron Gauntlet.
Yes. And while you look over, Tony has his fist up.
It's hard for me to see from the cloud of cum that came out from Mike's seat.
Yeah. It's true. Like,
I feel so sorry for that little girl next to him.
I'm sorry, guys.
30 women became pregnant after that scene.
I was in heat. and it was just a poor time. I apologize. My spermatophore just went everywhere.
Spermatophore?
And as you look up, Tony is just looking at him, and all of the Infinity Stones are being positioned to their correct spot via the nanites. And now what I postulated had happened, I think everybody else did, is while Tony was grappling, he easily saw that
because he
pulled the Power Stone out.
Well, the gauntlet that Thanos had was already made of Iron Man tech, which was at this point nanites.
Yeah, it was nanites. So, and he already showed you could easily take a stone out because he used it to thwart Captain Marvel.
So I mean, they'd never go real into this, but I think the nanites, because we saw this happen in Infinity War when he takes off his glasses and they just disappear into the suit and stuff like that. Yeah. I think the stones he just moved them from one gauntlet to his.
I mean, he easily
all to this.
Yeah, all it could have taken was contact because he can control the nanites. Those are his nanites.
Yeah,
and they just he absorbed them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and this is of course after Thanos had made his third time, I think, making his smug line, "I am inevitable."
Yeah.
He does his impotent snap, and of course Tony is there looking like a smartass. "I am Iron Man,"
and does his own snap.
Own snap.
And this is where,
and every bad guy on the field dusted. And this is one of the things that I thought was beautiful. At that point, Thanos has been fighting his ass off and kicking ass, and he sees that this has happened, and he just goes and sits down.
He's done.
He knows.
Yeah. He's not even upset about it.
No. He has been justifiably defeated.
Yep.
He's going to sit down, and he waits for it. And honestly,
he waits for the inevitable.
I thought when they started despairing, I'm like, okay, everyone's despairing. Thanos isn't going to despair. They're just going to arrest him or something. They're going to take him off
Thanos jail.
No, the police are going to come and they're going to arrest Thanos. He's going to try to get away in the Thanos copter, and they're going to shoot it down.
That's the only fan service I'm disappointed we didn't get.
Yeah, the Thanos copter, brother.
That's how I assumed the rest of the movie was going to go. But no, sure enough, fucking Thanos dusted, dude.
Just dusted. Well, I knew he was going to dust. I just figured it would be the last moment.
I was hoping
like Nick Fury. It took him a little while longer to dust.
Yeah. I was hoping he would have, instead of dusting, he would have just been mind wiped and just left to farm.
No, you're a super Thanos fanboy.
I know, that's what I was hoping for, but he did that earlier as the farmer, but I was like,
Farmer Thanos. Synchronized video of the snap. You guys have seen that, right? Where they have
yes.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man impressive. Actually disappears before Scarlet Witch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
On the synchronized snap where they synchronize
Saturn or Titan.
Yeah, on Titan.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have it's the 4-screen thing, and they synchronize the closing credits of Infinity War.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah, because they have the after credit scene of Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah. They have, and then all the scenes from Infinity War where snaps are going on, the
Wakanda,
after credit
Titan.
scene, Wakanda, Titan, and yeah. And they have it timed to where those scenes are set up to where when the snap happens, it's simultaneous.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's a badass video.
That's pretty cool.
So I posted it in Facebook. You've probably seen it.
Yeah, Spider-Man seems like he lasts longer than anybody.
Yeah, but he goes to the same time.
But yeah, he lasts longer, or Scarlet Witch lasts longer.
Oh yeah,
than
which
he
makes
does.
sense. She was more powerful.
You're strong,
and she's also part stone.
Yeah,
it was pretty awesome though, just watching that video, and then seeing because Tony left him for last.
Yeah,
it's like you're gonna watch this, you fucker.
You're gonna watch everything you worked your entire life for crumble.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope they remember you, Thanos. And then, of course, like they said, gamma radiation, by wielding the stones.
And just using the stones, all of them anyway. Thanos is powerful enough, and the Hulk were powerful enough to do it.
And it fucked them up.
Yeah. And it messed them up really bad.
So what do you think this can do to a human?
Oh, it gave him a highly lethal dose of radiation, which in turn, would gonna kill him.
Killed him.
Yeah.
Turn him into Swiss cheese
He got
on an atomic level.
Yeah, Tony got some great goodbye moments though.
Absolutely.
With Peter, War Machine, Pepper.
See, I'm going to have to watch the movie again because I missed all this.
Because you were being an asshole.
Exactly.
No, I wasn't.
You were.
You
Dickhead. You were clapping during this part.
I clapped.
Yes.
I'll talk about it later.
No, don't talk about it. We won't allow that.
No.
I know.
And Ray will just edit it out anyway.
I know.
I'll delete it.
I felt justified.
So-
You were not.
But yeah, you got some nice little closing moments with those people that were close to Tony.
Before he bit the big one.
I think the only one I would have liked to have seen one last little thing with Tony would have been Cap.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with that. I feel like they had their resolution
Yeah, they had already
before
had it.
they went to the past. But I think that would have been one last one I would have liked to have seen. But the people that were there, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the basic end. We just have the tie-ups going on. After that,
Everyone goes to the Western lands, like in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had the funeral for Tony. Everyone shows up. They got like the dude that helped Tony in Iron Man 3 showed up.
The little kid, right?
Yeah.
Little kid was
That's
there.
what some people were saying. Was that really him? Because I still don't buy that.
That one that was by himself.
Yeah, that was him. Why?
See, Tony helped him out, bro.
I don't get that.
I think he probably had told Pepper about him.
Maybe. I don't get why he was there, but okay.
And it's
For
been
fan
5
service,
years.
Maybe.
Yeah, in fan service.
Captain Marvel was in an absolute horrible pantsuit.
Oh, she looked.
That was I was like, who the fuck is this? She looked bad.
Yeah.
She looked like
also-
Cleopatra Jones.
I thought, because she did have an emotional haircut in this film.
What?
Which spoilers, guys. If we haven't given away enough,
she got a classic like Carol Danvers haircut.
Yeah, she looked hot.
it's not quite classic. I didn't love it was a short haircut, but I didn't.
I have a
love it.
Marvel
It's like a
Legends where Captain Marvel has short hair.
Like
No,
it's a 20.
she has short hair.
It's a 2010s Captain Marvel
Classic.
haircut.
I don't
That's
care.
yeah.
She still looks
decade
hot.
ago.
I didn't think
It's
Brie
fine.
Larson's gonna be
I'm sure
hotter.
Brie
She is.
Larson cares that you think that she's hot.
I hope she does.
Specifically
Yeah.
Brie
Brie-
Larson.
She's
Breeze,
listening
guys.
with bated breath through this whole
I
podcast.
wonder if the drunk ass motherfucker drinking the Steel Reserves thinks I'm hot.
And
That's the
yelling.
guy I've been waiting for
Yeah.
my whole life.
I'm a failure.
I hope
Brie
he-
Larson is
the
hot.
only
but
thing
without
I
short
hope-
hair is even hotter.
The only other thing I hope is that he cuts meat professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
And drinks Miller High Life.
So
No one else is.
also like Nick Fury's there. I thought he looked like shit too.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did just get undusted,
That's
and
true.
he is going on 70. I think
Was Maria Hill there?
Maria Hill was
Okay, I
there.
didn't see her. I missed her.
All the Guardians
All the
were there,
Guardians.
minus Gamora.
Yep.
The
Fat Thor.
The remaining 4 Avengers were at the forefront.
What
Yeah.
for?
Hulk,
Hulk, Thor,
Cap.
and
oh yeah,
and Hawkeye or Ronan.
Yeah.
Cap was still left. That's right.
And then they had a nice little scene with Wanda and who was with Wanda on the shore of the lake.
That was it wasn't anybody that normally talks to Wanda. Was it
Yeah.
War Machine?
It
So
might
I
have
don't
been
think it
that
was.
either.
I barely remember this, but I think it was War
But they
Machine.
were talking a little bit about Vision.
Because that was
right
the
there.
big surprise
I
of
think
this
that
whole
was
entire
War
movie.
Machine.
Yeah.
Is that Vision didn't show up. I knew we were going to get the like white, super drab, no emotions, complete android Vision, and we didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I was
super surprised by that.
really surprised at
I
that
didn't
part.
see any of that.
Yeah, there's a scene where Wanda's talking to somebody by the edge of the lake.
Vision his character really only seemed to be a plot point to move
Yeah.
Avengers 2 and Infinity War along.
Infinity War definitely, he got super nerfed in that because he got injured in the absolute beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's like they weren't sure what to do with him almost.
He
Well,
was
they
still
also
guffing.
didn't explain how powerful Corvus Glaive was.
Yeah.
No,
Cut at the
yeah.
atomic level. That's comic book, but that's
and
it.
cut through vibranium like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that, of course, and then what we really didn't talk about throughout is every time they got one of these stones, it would actually damage the timeline from which the stone was was retrieved. So after everything's said and done, Cap takes on the responsibility to return everything they've taken to defeat Thanos, including Mjolnir and the 6 Infinity Stones. They expect Cap to be back in 5 minutes. They being Bucky,
5 seconds.
Oh yeah, 5 seconds.
Bucky, Falcon, and Professor Hulk.
And Falcon.
Was Ant-Man there? Maybe, I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
And so they send him off. And he doesn't come back. And they're freaking out. They're thinking something's messed up. And
because Hulk's messed up some stuff before.
Yeah.
Bucky
says, "Well, guys, calm down. Let's look over there." And next to the machine, about 50 yards away or somewhat, or whatever, there's an older man sitting by the lake. They walk up to him, and it turns out it is probably a 110-year-old Steve Rogers.
I think he probably went back to the 70s.
I don't know, because
I think 40s.
I think 40s because the cars and the house they picked and everything was very
40s.
Yeah. So I think he went back probably like after World War II.
Yeah, right after he was supposed to go down to the ice.
I just recently rewatched Winter Soldier, where he goes and sees Peggy in the hospital, and it shows a picture of Peggy and her kids, but no picture of Peggy and her husband.
And she always said that there was somebody within the Howling Commando she married, but they never said who it was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, that was one of those, because I was purposely looking for something to show that who her husband was.
Well, on top of that, she had dementia when Steve saw her, so I mean, she could have easily, forgotten about all the years together and confused him. Maybe they, retroactively put that in later, but after everything's said and done, Cap chooses to retire, doesn't come back, and chooses to live his life out with Peggy. I think there probably would have been some really interesting, cool, scenes. Cap returning the stone, especially the Soul Stone, because Red Skull
the Soul Stone
is, he's the guardian
there.
I don't know.
That's the other question I have about it. Would he have still been there after the stone's gone? Because he's got nothing to be a guardian of anymore.
But I mean, just because a being has the Soul Stone doesn't mean they'll always have the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Maybe when the possessor dies, or after a certain amount of time, it returns back to Vormir.
Yeah.
But that's just mere speculation.
It's a really fucking cool. How did that happen? What happened there?
Yeah.
Well, the stones seem to be somewhat sentient, and the Tesseract, when he held it, forcefully teleported him away.
Yeah.
In the first Avenger, from what I remember, it's been a hot minute since I've seen the first Avenger. Because I was because I don't remember him defeating him. So I think the Tesseract just shot his ass.
Yeah, he grabbed the Tesseract and then he held it up, and then he just kind of dissolves.
Yeah,
it looks like he dissolves, but it's more. But it's obviously gets teleported later.
Yeah.
No. Well, because as you know, in the MCU, you have to be a pretty hardy being to wield any of this. Well, except the Mind Stone, I think, which even then I'm not sure. But I'll take that back, because the Mind Stone was encased in the staff, then encased safely in Vision when it was used.
Yeah.
Regardless, that was really about it, wasn't it? They set up some other stuff for Guardians 3, hopefully. They showed Quill looking for Gamora.
And Thor joining them, and them having an argument, sort of, about who was the leader of the Guardians. But also, at the end, when Cap's there, Cap has his shield with him.
Can't believe I just forgot. And, I glossed over this.
And, of course, it's Bucky and Falcon there. And Bucky nods for Falcon to go over. And I know a lot of people had a problem with this because they're like, Bucky and him are best friends. Why didn't Bucky go talk to him? Why didn't Bucky want to talk to him? Why wasn't there a Bucky moment? I honestly feel like when you're as close as Bucky and Captain America were, number one, I don't think Bucky ever expected Cap to come back.
Yeah.
I think he knew what was happening.
He was like, he's not going to be big.
He knew. Like, he's secure in his relationship with Cap. He doesn't have to be the first one to go see Cap when Cap comes back.
He's going to have his time.
He knows the relationship that Falcon and Cap have is still like progressing. And I honestly think that, like, I have friends that if I see them again and they're like having a conversation with someone, I can hold off for a little bit because I know when I get back with them, it's like I've never not been hanging out with them.
We can pick right back up where you left off.
So, and I know a lot of other people. So Captain America passes off his shield to
The
Falcon,
mantle.
to the mantle to Falcon, and he's like, "How does it feel?" And of course, he's like, "It feels like it belongs to someone else." And he says, "Well, it doesn't." I honestly thought that might be, he maybe was like, "Well, it's not mine yet," and give it to Bucky, but he didn't. He kept it.
Yeah,
and I think
the other line he had was, I don't, or something along the lines of, I don't want this, or I don't think I'm the guy for, or deserve it, or something. Cap's like, that's why I chose you.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those things that Bucky's character has not been developed to the point where he would be a good Captain America.
Yeah. Especially in these last two movies.
Like
because IW and Endgame, he's just there.
Yeah, absolutely.
About it.
Absolutely. They only show him in Infinity War because they're about to have a battle.
And, he's in Wakanda.
He's the White Wolf.
Yeah, he could have said, no, get this amount of arm. Could be like, he could have just sat out the whole thing and nothing would really change.
Yeah,
exactly.
But they have already, the White Wolf is a character from Wakanda in Wakanda, so I think they're already setting him up to be something else other than Captain America.
He hasn't really done anything since Civil War.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
that's hiding pretty much.
Yeah, he's been recuperating, honestly.
Oh yeah, because
getting over to brainwashing and stuff.
Brainwashing, yeah, also. So, I mean, that's basically what we got with Endgame, and
you had the scene of that last little scene of Cap and Peggy.
Dancing Peggy. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's your final payoff, and it was a doozy.
He lived the life he never had, and dude, that.
I wasn't super impressed with that part. I thought that part could have been left off.
Yeah,
I felt
unsaid.
Personally, I felt you could have ended the credits before that and put this as an after credit scene.
Yes,
it would have been perfect.
I did appreciate that there were no after credit scenes for this because this is the end.
It was finality.
I'm glad there wasn't an after credit scene, but if there was going to be, that would have been
after
credit Peggy
scene.
Dancing
because it's nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing, but it is everything. Because Cap never. He was denied a life.
That's a little
tell
much.
us about the. No, they tell him. They ask him specifically. It's like, you're going to tell us about this girl. He's like, nope.
Yeah, but we all know who his heart's always been for.
Yeah. But so then you had during the initial parts of the credits, had kind of it reminded me very much of Star Trek 6, where they had all the cast members from Star Trek sign off as their last movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Or no, this was like the Undiscovered Country.
Oh yeah.
Or you had like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and all those guys. They showed their signature across the screen. They did the same thing with these guys.
This screen grab is going to be worth millions of dollars.
I couldn't remember what you meant.
Yeah,
TJ,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, now I do.
But I thought that was a nice nod as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not anything
because everyone else got their name and their picture up there, but then the originals, the OGs, got that. Yeah, it was a nice little thing. Absolutely, I think this ended this era of the MCU perfectly.
Yeah,
there are things that I wanted that I didn't get. I'm not sad about it.
What did you want? What's one thing you wanted?
$1 million.
Yeah,
besides
$1 million. I don't know. There's just different ways that I would want some of the stuff to go.
Gotcha.
Nothing real specific that I have right now because I was so happy with how it went. It's kind of one of those things when like we've talked about with Star Wars and stuff like that. People have these fan theories that they're so into. Mm-hmm. There were little things that I was like, oh, I think this will happen, but I wasn't so married to them that I'm like, oh, it ruined the film because it didn't happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I think it was perfect. I said this at the beginning. I think Infinity War is a better film, but I think this is a perfect finale. I think this is a perfect finale.
Yeah. I still think Winter Soldier's the best overall movie.
Yeah.
Infinity War and Winter Soldier go back and forth. These three are probably the top three, though.
Oh, yeah.
And probably according to what I've seen lately is going to be what's on top. Because I've seen Infinity War, so Infinity War is my number one, Winter Soldier's number two, and this is easily number three.
Yeah.
And there is not much in between them.
No, and that's not to discredit this
any of those
in any way,
Absolutely
or Infinity
not.
War. It's just when I look at these, I give them a different kind of like rating or whatever based on, I don't know, just weird criteria. But I feel like Winter Soldier is one of those movies where I feel like
it changed
you could
a lot of
replace
stuff.
any of the characters and it would still be a good movie. You could take out, you could still have, you could just make it Super Spies or something like that,
Yeah,
and it would still be awesome movie.
It didn't have to be Captain America.
Yeah, it did not have to be Captain America, and that's great.
Yeah.
Infinity War is great because they did something in that you go through the whole movie, you don't expect to snap.
No.
And even rewatching it, it's still one of those movies where it gets to the snap, and you're still kind of pulling for everybody, even though you know that snap's coming.
Yeah.
You're still pulling for that last minute thing.
I was hoping for it.
And then with this one, there's so much fan service,
Absolutely.
and not in a bad way.
No.
Because there's movies out there that give you fan service that are just shit.
I'm sorry, but 11 years, the fan service was duly noted. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
They had their A game on for Infinity War and Endgame. It's not a mistake that the top three movies too are by the same people.
No, absolutely not. That's probably Tony died, Cap's gone, but the biggest loss we have after Endgame is the Russo brothers. They're done.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, the Russo brothers have said they're done. So that's honestly the biggest loss we have.
I'm glad we have James Gunn back.
Yeah, for real, right?
Dude, the mouse is going to throw money at those guys.
I mean, they may come back later,
Yeah.
but they're done for now.
They're gonna miss a saga or two.
Yeah.
Think of how wore the fuck out they have to be.
Absolutely.
I think it was, I saw earlier, the only directors to ever have 3 movies hit $1 billion.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
The only thing I have to take away from this is the first 11 years were amazing. I'm not holding high standards for the second because I'm not going to expect this level starting off each and every time. I'm resetting after this.
I think they have set the standard, and they have to at least meet this. And I think they will.
That standard's way too high with
it's not.
Endgame.
It's not. I think they can meet this. You can always
think
build
dollars, or are you talking dollars
in general?
No, I'm talking story wise.
I'm thinking
story-wise,
story
yes,
and quality. They're fine on that.
But money-wise, I can't see anything starting out after this to hit $1 billion and people be like, "Oh, it's a failure."
Right
you
now,
have to reset.
That's fine. I'm not. I
I'm
don't
looking
care
for
about
the
that.
reset now.
Right
So
now,
that's what I'm at.
The only other movie that you could really consider an event that's coming out would be Star Wars 9.
Yes.
Because it's the end of the Skywalker saga. It's closing that chapter out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only other movie that could even.
But there's not
considered
that much
to be
hype behind it comparatively.
Yeah.
That could be considered to be in talks to even kind of come close to
And
the
Avengers,
box office dollars on this
Star
right now.
Wars,
I'm
and
talking
Game
about
of Thrones.
like the next Marvel.
You got Game of Thrones going on right now too, which
but I'm talking like the next Marvel thing because I know we have Far From Home, but the next iteration of Marvel, I'm not holding it to Endgame standards.
No.
That's unfair.
So
I
think storytelling wise you can.
Yeah.
And I think casting and
Acting wise and all that.
But as far as
definitely.
like expectations of box office, I'm not going to hold that too.
Absolutely
God,
not.
No, I don't
No,
think
you have to build up to something like that, and they've already
they're
done
build
that.
up a new thing, and I'm excited for it.
guys, we're almost at the same amount of time that Infinity War actually went on.
Really?
So we're going to go ahead and sign off. Guys, does anyone have any closing remarks or any favorite things they want to talk about, or give it a jalapeno rating?
I give it infinity jalapenos.
Fair enough.
Which I think is appropriate. Yes. I thought it was a great movie. I'd probably give it an 8 or 9 out of 10 as far as like movie quality.
Yeah.
As far as fan service and what it accomplished, I'd definitely give it a 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Nice.
I agree with that.
Were there some plot holes? Were there some things that could have been done better? Absolutely. But overall, it is such a great story, such a great, tied in a nice bow, nice package. And I'm excited to see what else
where
they have in store, where it goes. But if this was the last Marvel movie they ever made, I would be utterly satisfied.
God, I never thought we would get this far. I think about that all the time. The comic books I've read when I was a kid, I never thought it would be this far. Yeah. But I think Mike has nailed it on the head. Yeah. This was incredible, a great ending. So we've said basically everything we can say about it. Guys, follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Nerds Who Get Laid. Sometimes we're, like we said, we're opening up that Nerds Who Get Laid group. We want you guys in there. We want you talking about this Endgame. Let's talk about it in there. We'll set up a post that's a spoiler post so that people know that that it won't
stay the
be
fuck
spoiled.
away.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah,
we're on the Instagram. We're on the Twitters. We'll hopefully be posting more reviews and stuff like that on GWW and our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. Go follow us. Tell your friends about us. Let's get this thing rocking again. This is episode 249.
We're 249,
and our next episode is going to be 250. So that'll be our first of the new era of Nerds Who Get Laid.
You
guys
can find us on Spotify, Stitcher,
we are on Spotify, Stitcher,
Apple Music,
Google Music.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. Everywhere.
Go ahead, give it a listen, man,
and let your people know about it.
And make sure you're watching out for when the next episodes are going to drop, because we'll be releasing that date.
Yeah, we'll
in the near future.
We'll release that on social media. Like I said, we're still recording some of them. We're going to try to drop full seasons or at least half seasons at a time. And we're, like we said, we're trying to up our quality of podcast and everything for you guys. So,
and this is just the beginning as far as the type of topics and what we do. And this may not be the only iteration. We could change again. But we're here to give you guys quality product. We thank you, listeners, for being patient and staying with us, while we make these transitions and hopefully bring you a better, more entertaining show.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, thank you again so much for listening to our longer than Infinity War recap of Infinity War. Dude, we loved it. We love you guys. We're out.
5 years. Thank you.
Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes is recorded at the illustrious Big Brown Record Town Studios in beautiful downtown Lake City. Episodes are published each Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Google Play. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Nerds Who Get Laid. We're at Nerds Who Get Laid on Twitter and Instagram. We're part of the Geeks World Wide podcast network. You can find reviews and articles we write at thegww.com. We're also part of the Modest Pod podcast network. We're on FloridaGeekscene.com and also WeBeGeeksPC.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean. You can also check out the show notes for links about things we talked about in this episode. Thanks so much.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks World Wide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks Assemble!